You're unique.
Unique just means alone.
I'm a survivor, not gonna give up.
There'll be more of them.
My family. They're here.
And keep on surviving.
You check to see how the markets are doing, but what you really need to know is how you're doing. Where do you go for that? PersonalCapital.com. You'll get all these free retirement investing tools, plus wealth management options. Join at PersonalCapital.com.
Even in my own home, I had my own designated space to smoke. If I think about it, it really was like I was punishing myself. A friend of mine said, why wouldn't you just try the Juul? And so I went out and I bought one. The idea of going back to smoking, I couldn't even imagine doing that. I don't think anyone, including myself, thought that.
Guys do whatever it takes to deal with shave irritation. So we reimagined the razor with the new Gillette Skin Guard. It has a unique guard between the blades that's designed to reduce a razor just for them. The best a man can get. Gillette.
InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. You can meet with an InventHelp representative who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. And InventHelp's databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to review new ideas, like yours.
Are you ready to put InventHelp in your corner?
Call now, 1-800-492-4211.
2020 Democratic presidential hopeful Pete Buttigieg speaking to CNN tonight, saying he's not interested in getting into a personal fight with Vice President Mike Pence, and that it helps people understand the contrast. So let's discuss now. Hillary Rosen is here and Gregory T. Angelo as well. Good evening. Thank you so much. An important conversation, important discussion. Issues?
Hi, Don. And, you know, look, your monologue was really important. So, of course he's right. And the reason he's right is because he actually is living in middle Americans, speaking to kids across the country who are still dealing with this problem. Wash with me. He is not a victim. It is LGBT kids across the country who are victims of religious discrimination, people using God as a weapon to wield power over their lives. And
Tell Dana Bash if he believed being gay is a sin, but he has opposed gay marriage, and the second lady works at a school that doesn't allow gay students.
Here, when people attribute policy positions that the vice president has taken and attribute them specifically to his evangelical Christianity. Positions of being opposed to same-sex marriage until as recently as 2016 were motivated by anti-gay animus.
I think they did say
Why
that.
was Barack Obama not an anti-gay advocate?
Go off on a tangent, and by deflecting here, when Hillary Clinton was opposed to gay marriage, she was criticized for that, and she should have been criticized for it. But Hillary Clinton is no longer the president of the United States.
Right.
Let's not bring up.
I'm just saying that there's a different standard that's being applied here to Mike Pence specifically because of his evangelical Christianity. In your monologue, you went back as far as the year 2000. That's 19 years ago, Don, talking about policy positions that Mike Pence took, actually potentially just advocating for safer.
Answer a question. So let's talk about what's happening now. So how can they say they're not?
They are who they love or their religious faith, and I think that that's actually a middle ground that people of goodwill should be able to meet at.
His policies don't show that. He's saying that gay people should have less protection under the law in certain aspects of American society. They shouldn't have the right to get married. That is not under the Constitution. And where does that doesn't come from the law, because if he was governing from the law, then he would be wrong. But he is governing, and his policies are coming from his religious beliefs. Go on, Hillary.
But he said, he himself, Gregory, this is where you're wrong. Because Mike other people are discriminated against him with his religion. There is something very sacred in this country called separation of church and state, which means that you can believe anything you want to believe, but you may not use the power of the government to wield the. Let's say that in 2015, after Edie with Indiana Constitution to ban same-sex marriage. Let's say that this week alone, Donald Trump and Mike Pence have attacked trans people. Somebody who is saying live and let live. This is somebody who's saying we are going to use our power because I feel justified in doing it because of my religion. Is Mayor Pete saying, no, you are not the victim here. There's no religious discrimination against you. It is you wielding your religion against others using the power of the state.
Let him respond.
And that's your problem with this.
Go ahead, Gregory.
Okay. Time and again, Mike Pence has been asked about this. It's been underreported in the media. Mike Pence has said, while he was governor of Indiana, and even today as vice president of the United States, that if he Mike Pence has gone out of his way no, he doesn't. He doesn't want anyone to be fired for it. In fact, he's hired people. He's sworn in multiple gay individuals to positions of prominence in the Trump administration. He's welcomed the openly gay ambassador, the openly gay Prime Minister of Ireland to the
if you oppress other gay people, I'm going to sit here in my place of privilege. Like the three of us are on TV. We are very lucky. We are not one of these trans kids suffering from bullying in schools or worrying about being thrown out of a job we love because we love America in the military. We're privileged. But you know what? The people that Mike Pence is supporting, like them for the policies they stand for.
That's absolutely not the case. Every time Mike Pence has had an opportunity to show welcome, he made a point of actually reaching out to.
Whoa. You're talking about exactly what Mayor Pete is talking about, and we're going along. I know. Listen, everyone's going to yell at me. We're talking about exactly what I'm talking about, the producers, because we're actually way over. But we're talking about exactly what Pete Buttigieg, Mayor Pete Buttigieg is saying, is that people are is being polite, smiling in your face, and discriminating against you at the same time. Law because of his religious beliefs.
And he wants you to believe that being invited
exactly what Mayor
over
Pete
for
is saying.
tea to the vice president's mansion is, you know, an equivalent payment for that. I'm sorry, those kids deserve better from the vice president.
Gregory?
All of the actions that Mike Pence has taken since everyone in the United States equally, whether they're part of the LGBT community or otherwise.
You can't possibly believe that.
100%.
Well,
100%.
then you're
You are perpetuating victimhood. You are perpetuating victimhood.
Victimhood. We're talking about children. We're talking about soldiers. We're not talking about victims. Stop it with that privilege. That they're going to have a military career, or if they have to give up the country that they love and fighting for the country they love because the president and the vice president want to throw them out.
Policy. There will not be transgender individuals
then why
discharged
have
from
the
the
policy,
military
Gregory?
under this policy.
Then why have the policy? Why have the policy?
Because this is a nuanced issue. And in the military, it's one that I think still needs to be perfected personally, but I think it's wrong to say that the implementation of this policy means that transgender individuals are going to be discharged from the military, because that, as the Pentagon has said, is flat out.
That be allowed in the military?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well,
I do. If they meet the
very person
qualifications that the Pentagon
the very person
requires.
you are defending doesn't think so.
Do you believe that the bullying programs at the Department of Education that were
those very same provisions were ruled unconstitutional almost as soon as they were implemented? That's why we had a court case that was moving toward the Supreme Court.
And by the way, who now have eliminated the programs. When Barack Obama tried to help those kids, that program was effective with Arne Duncan. And what happened when the Trump-Pence administration came in? You can do what you want to do, but don't try and pretend that there is not an agenda here. Long held agenda to hold back the rights of LGBT. Pete, in this presidential campaign, to take it back to the big picture, Don, nobody thought, oh, well, you know, the gays are fine.
Okay,
but
so
the truth is they're not.
Okay, I just want to ask Gregory this. Because I'm trying to make sense. Again, I'm going to ask. So you think that gay people should be allowed in the military? In the military has to meet a qualification, even if you're heterosexual.
That's correct. Whether you're gay, transgender, straight, whatever. I agree with that.
Do you think that gay people should be allowed to be married?
Yes, I do, and we all.
Defending the policies of someone who is against all of that you believe in, and saying that they're not anti-LGBTQ.
I'll tell you why, Don, because other LGBT individuals, whether we're privileged, as Hillary says, or not, I don't care.
That doesn't impact your life.
About...
If you, okay, I'm not going to ask you about your personal life, but if you, that doesn't affect your life?
This is a hypothetical that we shouldn't even consider now, because it's the law of the land in 50 states.
No, you're dodging.
We're not going back in time.
foster kids because, and she's the one who's vulnerable to being fired from her job. You know, people in suits and ties in Washington, not so vulnerable to being fired. Who are the most vulnerable people in this community and in this country are the people who are not being protected by the most powerful, and that's the crime.
How I think people like Hillary and myself disagree on how we achieve true equality in the United States. Is the way that we achieve true equality in the United States as a conservative? I think that there are different ways, different paths that we can
right to vote under the law. There are different ways. What do you do? You just are nice to people? You have
right now where the overwhelming supermajority of Americans already think that it's wrong to discriminate against someone because they're part of the LGBT community. We did that without continue to move the culture in a direction.
They may believe that, but that doesn't mean is not there. People can believe a lot of things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. That doesn't mean it's the facts.
And listen, I also don't... if things were so good for LGBT people in this country, we wouldn't have a higher, double the rate of suicide for LGBTQ kids than any other kids in this country. We would not for a minute are things okay. Not for a minute does this work, this Go get your own equality. Yes, you are. That is what you're saying.
What are you saying, Gregory?
And by the way, I would actually add, just bring it back to the of this segment, motivated in many respects by people of faith that have created an environment in the United States where there is increasing acceptance of the LGBT community. The needle keeps moving toward greater acceptance. It's not less acceptance. I'm not saying that we're perfect in this country, and I would actually argue that there is and potentially should be a path for LGBT equality legislation that recognizes when people say that it's terrible for LGBT individuals in the United States, I think that at the very least they're exaggerating. We live in a wonderful country right now, one that elevates people of all different types. And the Vice President and the current administration, I think, are trying their best to do that, and I think are succeeding in many ways.
I'll just close. Just remember that yesterday, your friend, the Vice President, refused to bash that you are not a sinner. And he said that that was because of his religious faith.
And I would close with this, Hillary, that as someone who is a person of faith myself,
his words,
I am a sinner.
Not mine.
I'm a sinner in many ways. All of us are sinners. If you are a devout Christian, you understand that we are all sinners. I'm imperfect.
In what ways?
I'm not divine. I'm not divine.
We're all flawed as humans. That throwing that out on TV just doesn't mean about whether homosexuality is a sin. And he specifically declined the opportunity to absolve you and your friends and me and Don by saying that he believes his religious faith gives him the right not to say that. So that's all you have to... So let's not talk about him being discriminated against in religion. Let's not talk about your view that he's accepting everyone. This is still a person not accepting.
I just think it's, listen, I got to go, but I just have to, it's interesting to me when people say we're all sinners. And a misrepresentation of what the Bible and religion is all about. I got to go. Thank you. See you soon.
Good night.
Thanks, Don.
This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. Deputy report. A Justice Department official says Rosenstein told attendees at a private lunch today that the report will clear up questions about Russian interference in the 2016 election. The official tells CNN that Rosenstein made the comment to emphasize that the core of the Mueller investigation, Russian meddling in the election, was thoroughly investigated and charged. Rosenstein is also defending Attorney General Barr's handling of the report, telling the Wall Street Journal he's being as forthcoming as he can. Really? Then why did Barr using just a handful of lines from the actual report and not using the summaries that the Mueller team provided? The Attorney General says he'll release a redacted version of the special counsel's report by next week. It could come any day now. The problem is we don't know how much of the report the American people will actually see after all those redactions. So joining me now is David Rode and Ellie Honig. It's amazing to watch, but you know, we had to do it. Thank you for this. Ellie, let's talk about Rosenstein. He says the Mueller report is going to clear up questions about Russian teams' contacts with Russians. Do you think the report is going to get to the bottom line on that?
I think it will. I think, look, this is Robert Mueller's core mission to investigate connections between the Russian government and the Trump campaign in 2016. That's the chapter I'm going to turn right to. And the big question I have, and you mentioned before, William, mission to investigate connections between the Russian government and the Trump campaign in 2016. That's the chapter I'm going to turn right to. And the big question I have, and you mentioned before, William, mission to investigate connections between the Russian government and the Trump campaign in 2016. That's the chapter I'm going to turn right to. And the big question I have, and you mentioned before, William, mission to investigate connections between the Russian government and the Trump campaign in 2016. That's the chapter I'm going to turn right to. And the big question I have, and you mentioned before, William, mission to investigate connections between the Russian government and the Trump campaign in 2016. That's the chapter I'm going to turn right to. And the big question I have, and you mentioned before, William,
I don't know.
Yeah, everything's linked up here. But obstruction is going to be a key question because remember, Robert Mueller came out right on the razor's edge there. He said the evidence was sort of too close to call. And one of the things I want to see is what was that evidence and why did Robert Mueller not make that call? It's very unusual for a prosecutor, especially of Robert Mueller's caliber, to not make a call. And who did he intend to make that call? Was it William Barr? I think not. William Barr got asked about this the other day. He seemed to say. Mueller did not ask me to make the call. I think what Robert Mueller was intending there was Congress. You're the only ones who can take action here. We don't indict sitting presidents, so I want it for you. And if that's the case, that could change the whole calculus here.
David, why do you say that the redactions in this report? I'm sure
he said, I was at his confirmation hearing, he said, I'm at a point in my life when I can do the right thing. He supported President George H.W. Bush pardoning several members of the Reagan administration for lying to Congress. They were, accused of lying to Congress because they were disobeying their need to talk to Congress, to respect Congress's oversight abilities. Barr backs the sort of supreme president that can do anything he wants.
I am not going to do anything that I think is wrong. And I will not be bullied into doing anything I think is wrong by anybody, whether it be editorial boards or Congress or the president. I'm going to do what I think is right. I feel I'm in a position in life where I can do the right thing and not really care about the consequences in the independent.
Will he be independent? And I hope he is. Fighting on and on. I worry, given his statements this week, he'll be independent and political and back his president.
Is he really independent?
I don't think so. I have very little faith in William Barr. I was willing to give him sort of the benefit of that.
So many people were, and I sat here going, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go on.
Look, he has a good resume. He has this ability to sort of dress up everything he does in the clothing of the law, and he makes things sound official, and he looks and appears non-threatening. But I think when you really bear down on his record and his history, every few months he's been in office that has been truly independent, where there might be some chance that Donald Trump, the White House, says, gee, I wish he hadn't done that. Everything he does comes out one way, and it's always to protect the president.
But you knew what he wrote about.
I know.
The special counsel, which was in large part, they believe, why he was nominated.
Not only did he write his opus on obstruction, which we all know about, don't forget, he also was very skeptical of collusion. He wrote to the New York Times in 2017 about eyes at even the notion of collusion 2 years ago. So I think he prejudged.
But hasn't Hillary Clinton been investigated?
Yeah, right. I believe so.
What happened?
He wanted him. He was talking about Uranium One, all these conspiracy theories.
The Attorney General of the United States talking about conspiracy theories which have been debunked?
Right. Well,
okay. He knew what he had to say to get confirmed?
Yes, I mean, the people are coached about this, and he got himself confirmed. My fear is his backing again of the imperial presidency. We have three, branches of government. A federal judge approved the, eavesdropping, the surveillance of Carter Page. That's the judicial branch doing what it should be. That the president cannot obstruct justice. The president can break the law, can thwart investigation, can fire the FBI director who is investigating his own campaign. And according to Barr, that's part of his powers. I mean, when back to Congress?
Yeah, and Barr even said in his memo, not only can the president stop any investigation, he said he can stop an investigation for any reason, including protecting himself. Yeah. We talk about putting someone of the law.
There you go.
And pardon people.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
We'll see what happens.
Allegedly. Thank you both. I appreciate that. The Mueller report is coming out any day now, but how much will be redacted there and how many questions will it answer? I'm going to ask a member of Congress next.
90 packs more omega-3 power into one small soft gel. It supports your heart, brain, eyes, and joints. Mega Red.
In the connected...
We were the ones on the hook for it. We can't pay a $50,000 bill.
Cyber criminals around the world keep finding new ways to steal your personal information. Power of Norton, for even more protection for your identity and your devices, where so much of your personal information lives.
Knowing that Norton and LifeLock are on my side makes me feel even more confident about the protection that I have for my identity.
Monitoring your credit isn't enough to see if your identity is being used by thieves. LifeLock we help defend your personal information on your devices from ransomware, spyware, and more. And if you have an identity theft problem, a U.S.-based restoration agent will work covered by LifeLock's powerful $1 million protection package, including reimbursement of stolen funds and personal expenses up to the limits of your plan, and lawyers and experts if that.
Join for as low as $9.99 per month and get 30 days free with promo code. Join today. All memberships include identity threat detection and alerts, with agents working to fix issues, LifeLock's $1 million protection package, and award-winning Norton security protection for up to 5 devices.
I've got 2 industry leaders to help protect my identity and my devices.
LifeLock with Norton. Call 1-800-433-9024. And free shredder with annual membership. Call right now.
Where some see an accountant, I see a superhero. A Duke of Deductions. Gary is a small business owner. Me?
Business insurance. The Bucks got your back.
Thanks to Move Free. I keep up with this little one, see the world with this guy, and hit the town with these girls.
In a clinical study, 4 out of 5 users felt better joint comfort. Move Free Ultra. Movement keeps us connected.
I wish we could have found something like that.
Oh, well, I looked through all sorts of on one website, then searched for hotels and a few different booking sites, but then we finally booked our apartment on another site.
Really? On Trivago, you can now find them in one place, whether it's a vacation rental or a hotel. And Trivago will compare the prices from hundreds of websites worldwide.
Is it to find a great pair of jeans? Too tight here, too loose there, too long there? Standard jeans use just 2 measurements. Taylor Custom Jeans use 7 different measurements to give you the perfect fit. Your phone can measure you right now. Download the Taylor app on iOS or Android. Choose from hundreds of styles. Taylor measures you digitally and is 20% more accurate than a professional tailor, with free shipping or Android.
The Mueller report is expected in a matter of days. The Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein saying today that the report will clear up questions about Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. But how much will the American... Joining me now to discuss is Congressman Jamie Raskin, a Maryland Democrat on the Judiciary Committee. Thank you, Congressman, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
When you heard the Attorney General testifying this week, giving credence to the president's paranoia, talking about alleged spying on the Trump campaign, what are your expectations that he will release the full Mueller?
For Donald Trump, he's not acting remotely like an Attorney General of the United States, the kind that we've known in the past. And if this report were indeed doorstep where it would have been 3 weeks ago, I think it leaves a very strong impression on the American people that this is a form of political editing that is
grand jury. But I think the American people are smart enough to figure it out on their own without all of the
well, and remember, it's always been Congress in the past which has made those 6 grand jury deletions or excisions. It's not been the Attorney General who's done it.
So I want to ask you about, there's an interview in the Wall Street Journal where the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein being as forthcoming as he can, and that the public should have, another quote, tremendous confidence. After what Barr said in testimony, what do you think about Rosenstein's characterization?
Well, I think that the Attorney General came very close to just discrediting himself by buying into the whole debunked deep state conspiracy. The Mueller report, but whether it shows there was lots of evidence, or just the evidence we know of the Trump Tower meeting with the Russian emissaries, even if it's just the stuff we already know, there clearly was enough evidence to give alarm to people in the Department of Justice, people in the FBI, to do their job. I mean, on much less evidence, in fact, on no evidence. And by the way, the spying that he's talking about, if he's talking about Pfizer...
Different judges at different points.
Yeah, and they were following it. So it's just remarkable to me that the Attorney General of the United States will, without any evidence at all, buy into this completely deranged theory about spying on the Trump campaign.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory echo chamber, it seems like. You know, we learned today about the president's plan to release migrants detained at the border into largely Democratic and what they call sanctuary cities. What could he possibly be hoping to accomplish?
It's just a totally illogical plan that makes no sense. It would be as if President Obama had said, we're going to release sick people with no health insurance on the states that refuse to engage in the Medicaid expansion and to accept federal funding for it. It just doesn't make any sense. The two things don't match up.
Before we run out of time, I just want to get this in because this Congress has just passed the 100-day mark. In a preview of an appearance on 60 Minutes this weekend, the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi indicated change might be coming. Listen to this.
Why doesn't anything get done?
Well, we just started. We just started. It was 3 months since we were in office.
But you're talking about 100 days. This
Paycheck Fairness Act for equal pay for women and men in America. We passed the first gun safety legislation in more than 2 decades for a universal, comprehensive gun show loophole, closed the internet loophole. That's favored by 97% of the American people. Our counterparts didn't even have a hearing on that in the last with the big pharma companies for lower prescription drug prices in Medicare. That's a power we've got in Medicaid and the VA. If you check out our positive program, we are fighting for the American people every single day against the most lawless offense for the American people.
Congressman Raskin, appreciate your time.
Delighted to be with you, Don.
Ivanka Trump is a senior advisor in the White House. Reporter with the scoop on Ivanka's White House life joins me next.
Even the grimiest messes with the power of Lysol kills 99.9% of germs with 0% bleach.
For sinus relief that's all natural and drug-free, experience out the other. Navage relieves congestion naturally by flushing out allergens, and germs. Breathe better with Navage. It's nature's decongestant, all natural, drug-free.
I love that clean nose feeling.
At CVS and Walgreens, or for a 90-day zero-risk trial, buy direct at Navage.com.
Hi, Phil Swift here. People everywhere tell me how much they love the Flex Seal family of products.
This stuff is awesome.
For any project, it's fantastic.
Imagine everything you could do with the Flex Seal family of products. Available at these fine retailers.
Roman, you can go online, chat with a physician, and if treatment is right for you, we'll ship FDA-approved medication right to your door. Roman, let's take care of it.
Audible members know listening has the power to change us, make us better parents, better leaders, better people. And there's no better place to listen than Audible. With Audible, you get a credit good for any audiobook and exclusive fitness and wellness programs. For Audible, automatically roll your credits over to the next month if you don't use them. And if you don't car, on your phone, or any connected device. And when you switch a device, pick up right where you left off. With our commitment-free guarantee, there's never been a better time to start listening to Audible. The most inspiring minds, the most compelling. Listen 9 to 500-500 today.
Sunday night, Andrew Yang, a CNN presidential town hall, live from Washington, D.C.
We will take this all the way to the White House because the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math.
Sunday night at 7 Eastern on CNN.
One Power Readers, America's favorite reader eyewear brand, is having a huge site-wide sales event. Your first pair is 25% off at $14.99. And readers.com and get yours today. Are you tired of struggling to read what's on the page or prescription label or recipe on the box? Now there's One Power Reader glasses. So now you can clearly read what's on the page. Take your proper prescription and have success in the kitchen, all with the same pair of glasses. Plus the durable spring hinge. .com and get yours today. Only $14.99 for your first pair, and each additional pair is 60% off at $7.99. As many as you want. Order now.
Remember when people thought Ivanka Trump would be a moderating force on this president? Well, things sure have changed. A new article in The Atlantic, Inside Ivanka's Dream World, goes behind the scenes of the White House life of the advisor to President / first daughter. I want to bring in the article's author, Elena Plott, joins us. Also with us to discuss Alice Stewart and Maria Cardona. Good evening. Okay, Ivanka's Dream World, and you set the scene interviewing the president about Ivanka in the Oval Office when she accidentally pops in, and then you write this. You say, "You could tell by his eyes the way they popped and gleamed and fixed on someone behind me. Only one person gets that kind of look from Donald Trump." "Oh," the president said. Ivanka Trump lifted her hands, astonished. "I'd forgotten you guys were meeting. I was just coming by," she said. Uh-oh. Okay, I thought it was interesting that you were doing a piece on her. She didn't want to do the interview, but her dad did. I'll ask you about that later, but...
She did it, Don, but
Yeah.
It's one of those moments, and I know you felt this way probably as a journalist, that, you know, if they project a certain way of being, they will be perceived that way and only that way.
But you knew that she didn't forget, right? That
Oh,
was,
of course,
okay.
of course.
Okay. And was this a backhanded way of the President of the United States floating the idea that somehow Ivanka can run for political office, even if the article turned out to be negative? It's like saying, don't think about puppies. right? Because you write in there, you talk about him saying, oh, she'd be, you know, for president and all that stuff. But do you think that that's, because when I read it, I was like, that's exactly what it is.
To get anyone to agree to talk to me, mostly because The Atlantic ran a cover story calling for the president's impeachment, and nobody in the White House would talk to me for a while. So the fact that I even got Ivanka might run for office someday, if only to show that, you know, as it is with her belief in him, he believes she can do no wrong. The idea that she might be president one day, or leader of the World Bank, or UN ambassador, is totally plausible in his eyes.
Don, if I can say this, this is a phenomenal piece and a great place. She's talking about the lead there. I think the lead of this piece is that Ivanka Trump that's what we're seeing, and you can sit there
You're
and you can
good,
laugh.
Alice.
No, what I'm saying is that, look, she outlines Ivanka and who she is very well. I was talking about her being poised and calm under pressure, and a cosmopolitan peacemaker, and someone who can really bring people together, and that's truly her nature. It's really easy. Situations she's trying to make her case, and I have seen her. She comes there with the facts, she is impassioned, she is emboldened, and she really makes the case, and she does so oftentimes get there by any other means than she's the president's daughter, but she's really an
this piece, but Maria, I know you want to get in, so go on.
Well, no, what I was going to say is, you know, she is somebody that I think people have so desperate for a balanced voice inside the White House for all the crazy, dangerous, threatening things that this president has done. And she hasn't lived up to that. Again, fairly or unfairly, this is how people have painted her. But she, you know, nobody asked her to come there. And now it looks like she, at least from the piece, which I think was brilliantly written, by the way, you know, she doesn't understand why people don't like her. She doesn't understand why people are feeling this disdain towards her. Well, you know what? She's in over her head. She doesn't have the qualifications to be that most people that go into the sacred place that is the White House should have. And I think that's a big reason why people are criticizing
Okay, so
her.
let's talk about that, Elena, because I thought it was fascinating, because you're right about, you talk about she is surprised about that people care about process, how you actually get to the ends. Right? People say, you know, the means justify the
right.
It is true. I found that fascinating, and you're exactly right about that. So let's discuss everything that the other guests just said. You actually take that on. You say that throughout the election, Ivanka maintained a pleasing outright that she supported abortion rights, for example, or was concerned about climate change, yet many people felt sure of both. Ivanka did not offer an opinion on immigration or the need for a border wall, yet the conventional wisdom was that her views must be different from her father's. She wrote thank you notes. She spoke in complete sentences. Because she embraced the manners, and here we go again talking about this is what Mayor Pete Buttigieg says, because she embraced the manners of polite society, she surely embraced its politics, too. She rarely took a public stance, Elena.
Yeah.
And so that benefits, she could be all things to all people in the former life that she had, but when you're an advisor to the president and in politics, that does not fly.
It doesn't fly, and if anything, it made me, when researching this article, looking back at her statements or lack thereof, critical view of itself for so seamlessly buying into this notion politics were any different from her father's. We had no idea what her politics were. She never said what they were. And because she just made herself this vacuum of sorts, I think that these ladies are totally right. People wanted they were desperate to her because she was this blank canvas of sorts. But that's our fault. You know, we did that. She had succeeded in a past life because it was based on a lifestyle brand where that kind of thing did work and did make you money. But in politics, those kinds of assumptions have actual consequences on American people.
You know what? The things that I really took from this is that, and that we've heard, is that her father is not an asset to her. Calling her baby in White House meetings when she already is not taken seriously. It's not something that is helping her.
It was interesting to me that she said her brand is about cultivate
authenticity. That's not quite authentic, is it?
I'll just say this: you can be polite in society and also be a conservative at the same time.
Okay,
that might be hard to accept.
But I struggle with actually doing this because doing the segment because I don't know if Ivanka Trump has any relevance now. And I don't know what she's actually accomplished, anything that's worth of note. Conversation for another time. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Great reporting, Elena. Thank you so much. This is a shocking story caught on camera. Chicago police dragging a 16-year-old girl down the stairs and beating her. And believe it or not, it gets worse from there.
Confusing, but Credit Sesame made it so simple. They showed me my credit score, what's affecting it, and gave me some simple steps to improve it. Best part, it's free. And it worked for me.
Get your free credit scoring strategy at creditsesame.com.
Next 12 hour. The Bilayer tablet immediately releases to thin and loosen excess mucus and lasts for 12 hours. Mucinex 12 hour.
Guys, how size Taylor custom t-shirts use 8 different measurements to give you the perfect fit. Your phone can measure you right now. M. Taylor for iOS or Android.
Paid spokesperson.
Have you or a loved one had hernia mesh implanted specifically for hernia repair and had serious complications, including infection, wound reopening, chronic pain, bowel obstruction, and you may be entitled to compensation? Hernia repair surgeries are one of the most common surgeries performed in the United States, with over 500,000 surgical procedures annually. Recent studies have found higher levels of hernias reopening when hernia mesh has been implanted and have experienced serious complications, including infection, wound reopening, chronic pain, bowel obstruction, or you later required revision or repair surgery, you may be entitled to compensation. How do you protect your rights and fight for the compensation you deserve?
Hundreds of ways to personalize products for your home and business.
That's fast.
Our easy-to-use design tools.
It's my design.
Fast search. Again and again to customize, create, and grow your business. And everything in between. Go to gotprint.com and use promo code GP to get 10% off your first order as a new customer.
When we started a business, we were paying like an arm and a leg for the postage. I remember setting up ShipStation. I think it was
ShipStation saves us so much time. It makes it really easy and seamless. Pick an order, print everything you need, slap the label onto the box, and it's ready to go.
Our cost for shipping, like, we're cut in half, just like that.
ShipStation, the #1 choice of online sellers. Go to ShipStation.com/TV and get 2 months free.
We like to imagine. The reality is, the journey is just beginning.
Where we're gonna land, but
Project with Van Jones. Premieres Sunday, April 28th at 9.
Frank Thomas. AKA the Big Hurt, used to keep pretty busy on the baseball field, but now he's busier than ever.
After I turned 40, it wasn't easy to keep up. Everything changed. My energy, my drive.
Ever, because it boosts your free testosterone and your total testosterone. To get your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, text EASY to 23123.
That makes me feel awesome.
From the brand that brought you GNC's #1 vitality product, new Nugenix Total T helps provide even more energy, testosterone, and muscle-boosting ingredients for even better results.
With Nugenix Total T, 40 was just another number.
Text EASY to 231-231.
A 16-year-old girl pushed and dragged down the stairs at her school by 2 police officers, who then punched her and allegedly used a stun gun on her. And the shocking incident, all caught on, was kicked out of class at Chicago's Marshall High School for using her cell phone. There was a disagreement over whether she should give up the phone. Chicago police officers assigned to the school were called. The video shows what happened next. The stairs. The 2 officers, one male, one female, pin her to the ground using their bodies and feet. You can see one of the officers punching her while she's on the ground. Denigma appears to try to defend herself. The officers allegedly end up shocking her multiple times with a stun gun. On February 1st, Denigma was charged. 5 days later, the charges were dropped. The Howard family has filed a lawsuit against the city, Chicago Public Schools, and the officers involved in the altercation. And have not commented on the specifics of the incident. So joining me now is Denigma's father, Laurenthio Howard, and Andrew Stroth, who is the attorney for the Howard family. I'm so glad you're actually there at the school to pick up your daughter while this was happening. Tell us what was going through your mind when you saw your daughter being dragged down the stairs and beaten by police.
Well, first of all, I heard a commotion, and I turned around and I looked and I seen my daughter coming down the stairs. And immediately I turned to go see what was going on, and I seen a police officer had her leg pulling her down, and once she got down to the bottom of the stairs, I'm looking, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, what's going on? Why are you all doing this to her? What's going on? All he told me was to do was to step back and get out the way.
Wow. So how is she doing now? Was she seriously injured?
She had a couple cuts and bruises on her body and everything, but she's more traumatized than anything. It's hard for her to sleep at night. Well, the police officer, as you can see in the video, just grabbed her and just pushed her down the stairs. When the police officers in the beginning said that she pulled them down the stairs. Mm-hmm. With their initial statements.
Well, let's look at this because in the video, before the police officers take her down, it looks like Denigma is saying something to the officer. Not what did she say happened? What did she say, if anything?
I don't know. I'm not sure what she said. She told me the police officer said, "You're leaving right now," and they meant that too. You're leaving right now. By any means necessary.
Yeah. Andrew, CNN has reached out to Chicago PD, to the Chicago PD and the public schools as well. Both say that they are investigating. Initially charged. Without this video, she would have been in a world of legal trouble.
You have a 6-year-old girl without cause or provocation that is kicked and punched and dragged down that stairwell and then tasered. And then the officers gave an official statement, and that statement didn't match the video. And thank God the state's attorney's office looked at that video, the surveillance video from the school, what was on the video, because had Denigma Howard been charged and convicted, she could have spent several years in custody, and her life. And thank God the state's attorney's office dismissed those charges.
Yeah, because they said that she initially attacked them, they said, but then the video shows otherwise.
Absolutely. So once we knew from the beginning, because Mr. Howard told me, and so did Denigma, and subsequently we filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the Chicago, the city of Chicago, and the 2 officers who, by the way, Don, had a history of using excessive force against other individuals.
I want you to explain this to us, because you say it should have never gotten this far. Rose, the school counselor was supposed to be called, not police. Explain that for the audience, please.
When you have an individual plan, you are supposed to be able to talk to your case manager, and they're supposed to resolve the situation, whatever problem you're having.
Mr. Howard's daughter had some behavioral challenges, so when they have students with certain challenges, they have a plan in place so that if something, keep her cell phone, and they didn't want her to have it. So instead of calling the assistant principal and the counselor, it escalated because there's Chicago police officers assigned to that high school. And what happened was the officers were called, they came, and you see Denigma hug her friend, and then you see that officer immediately cuff her, tackle her, while his daughter was being brutalized by the Chicago police.
What do you want to see happen to the officers with you?
Well, they assaulted her instead of their story saying that she assaulted them. They should lose their jobs.
Well, keep us updated on what happened.
Good to see you.
We'll be right back.
I really didn't expect to learn so many interesting details. Ancestry DNA was able to new Andean region, and that was incredibly exciting because I really didn't know that. We never spoke about that in my family. It just brings it home how deep my roots are, and it connects me to them and to their spirit and to their history.
20 million members have connected to a deeper family story. Order your kit at Ancestry.com.
For sinus relief, digestion naturally by flushing out allergens, mucus, dust, and germs. Breathe better with Navage. It's nature's decongestant, all natural, drug-free.
I love that clean nose feeling.
At CVS and Walgreens, or for a...
Where some see a barber, I see a magician. Hugo, of Hair by Hugo. Wizard of whiskers. Sorcerer of scissors. Houdini of hair. Hugo is a small business owner. Me?
What you don't see can hurt you. Today's connected world is full of threats you may not see if you just monitor And now with the power of Norton, we detect threats like ransomware too, to help protect your identity and devices. Plus, if there's an identity theft problem, we'll work to fix it with our $1 Million Protect.
You can't go anywhere without your phone in your hand. So to keep it secure when your hands are busy, WeatherTech invented the Cup Phone. With removable cups, the Cup Phone fits any and allows easy access while charging. So if you're driving, boating, or even golfing, it fits perfectly. Whatever you drive, whatever phone you have, Cup Phone is the perfect fit.
Back with that credit card? Turn to the nerds. Are your credit cards working hard enough for you? At NerdWallet, we sort through hundreds of credit cards to find you the lowest rates and the sweetest perks like balance transfers and travel. Using your preferences to narrow your search, NerdWallet makes it easy to compare and find the perfect card for you. Need the right credit card? Turn to the nerds at nerdwallet.com.
I got this mountain bike for only $11.
DealDash.com, the fair and honest bidding site. An iPad worth $505 was sold for less than $24, a PlayStation 4 for less than $16, and a Schultz 4K television for less than $2.
For less than $40.
And shipping is always free.
Go to DealDash.com right now and see how much you can save.
Ever since Daryl's family started using Gain Flings, their laundry smells more amazing than ever.
Honey, isn't that the dog's towel?
Towel, suit towel. There's more Gain scent plus OxyBoost and Febreze odor remover in every fling. Gain, seriously good scent. Hey, did you know Gain comes in dish soap too?
Thanks to Move Free, hit the town with these girls.
In a clinical study, 4 out of 5 users felt better.
Was bringing a hidden population of teenagers out of the shadows. 1.3 million kids sleep on the streets or couch surf every night in the United States. These are navigate a dangerous world on their own. Vicki Sokolik is not only giving them a safe house to live in, but love, belonging, and a chance at a brighter future.
There's a lot of shame that goes with being a homeless, unaccompanied youth. They hide what's actually going on with them. And so they really become this very the transformation of these kids is monumental. They come in so broken, and I'm just one person telling them it's just great that they can be happy and they're able to be kids again.
One young woman's journey from living without electricity for a year to training to become a lawyer. And to nominate someone you think should be a CNN hero, go to CNNheroes.com. Thanks for watching. Our coverage continues.
Which is why Mega Red Advanced 4-in-1 packs more omega-3 power into one small soft gel. It supports your heart, brain, eyes, and joints.
And so do their museums, gastronomy, and architecture. Antigua Guatemala. History calls. Guatemala, heart of the Mayan world.
Hi, I'm Annette, and I'm an actress. And let me tell you something, under eye bags and ring Plexaderm, and I was so excited. We have a model, his name is Richie. And all he's doing is taking a small amount of powerful, that's all it takes. What I love about Plexiderm is you don't have to worry about the injections, the expensive plastic surgeons, because this is something that you can do in the convenience of your own home. It's a cream, it's a topical, it literally creates an invisible layer on your fine lines and wrinkles, and it visibly disappears in as little as 10 minutes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. It feels great. Looks even better.
I can't even believe that this worked. I was a little skeptical, I am not going to lie, because I saw people online with it and I'm like, yeah.
A little difference, but to see that big of a difference, and you know, I felt something happening, but I had no idea. Like, I have so many dark.
I did this to my father at home because I was skeptical. Yes, I admit it. 4 minutes, 34 seconds. The appearance of his under eye bag was completely gone. We were screaming. You have an event, you have any of those moments where you want to feel the best about yourself, I am telling you, the videos that you see on social media and TV are real. Right now, you can get Plexiderm for up to 50% off.
Detergent alone doesn't kill bacteria, but adding Lysol laundry sanitizer kills 99.9% with 0% bleach. Lysol. What?
And then you destroy yourself.
One Power Readers, America's favorite reader eyewear brand, is having a huge site-wide sales event. Your first pair is 25% off at $14.99. Many as you want, even reader sunglasses. But you have to hurry now and go to onepowerreaders.com and get yours today. Are you tired of struggling to read what's on the page? Prescription label or recipe on the box. Now there's One Power Reader glasses with multiple correction power that can correct your vision from 0.5 to 2.50. Success in the kitchen, all with the same pair of glasses. Plus, the durable spring hinge makes them to last, but secure and comfortable to wear. Hurry over to onepowerreaders.com and get yours today. Only $14.99 for your first pair, and each additional pair is 60% off at $7.99. As many as you want. Order now.
Marianne Williamson, A Presidential Town Hall, Sunday night at 6 Eastern, only on CNN.
Closed captioning brought to you by Page Publishing. We help publish, distribute, and sell your book.
Have you written a book and want to...
Call for your free author submission kit.
We have open arms. They're always saying they have open arms. Let's see if they have open arms.
A new controversy over a new immigration policy. President Trump threatening to send undocumented immigrants to the very cities that oppose his tough stance on immigration. Also, Kim Jong-un says he is open to a third summit with Trump, but under some conditions. We'll have that also.
I might be bringing you more gifts later, but I'll see you Sunday for the other birthday party, okay?
A child who was bullied. It makes for an unforgettable birthday for the boy. We'll have that this hour as well. Welcome to our viewers here in the U.S. and around the world. I'm Natalie Allen in Atlanta at CNN World Headquarters, and this is CNN Newsroom. Thanks again for joining us. President Trump is coming under fire for his extreme immigration policies. On Friday, Mr. Trump said he is seriously as a way to spite his political rivals for not supporting his wall. Sanctuary cities have policies or laws limiting the kind of assistance local law enforcement will give the U.S. federal government on immigration. Usually, that means they will protect undocumented immigrants. Critics accuse the president of using human beings as political pawns. But Mr. Trump appears to be leaning into the controversy. We get more from Caitlin Collins. She's at the White House.
We can give them an unlimited supply.
President Trump is touting a proposal to place undocumented own administration's denials of the policy.
So will
Trump making the threat in person after tweeting earlier that because Democrats are unwilling to change our dangerous immigration laws, we are indeed giving strong considerations to placing illegal immigrants in sanctuary cities only. Those remarks coming just hours after a White House official said the idea was briefly and informally raised and quickly rejected. No one at was pressured by anyone at any time. But sources tell CNN the president pushed former Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen
resources.
The president's warning coming as CNN has learned that during his trip to the border last week, Trump told Kevin McAleenan, now the acting DHS secretary, that if he were jailed or faced legal issues because he blocked migrants from entering the U.S., he would pardon him. It's unclear if Trump meant it as a joke. Recent rise in immigration numbers, making his frustration clear today.
But if they don't agree, we might as well do what they always say they want.
News of the attempted sanctuary
notion that is unworthy of the presidency of the United States and disrespectful of the challenges that we face as a country, as a people.
One of the highest profile sanctuary cities in California, saying in a statement that the extent of this administration's cynicism and cruelty cannot pawns in their warped game to perpetuate fear and demonize immigrants is despicable and in some cases criminal. But Trump seemed to relish the outrage from Democrats.
Let's see if they're so happy. They say we have open arms.
Which is now being run by an acting secretary, acting deputy secretary, acting Customs and Border Protection commissioner, and an acting ICE director. A border official announcing that starting today, they'll city. And 6 of the major border checkpoints are currently understaffed. Now, the president made clear that he believes this sanctuary city proposal would be a punishment for Democrats. But Jim Kenney, the mayor of Philadelphia, which is considered a sanctuary city, said that they would welcome all immigrants with open arms. He said he believes this latest proposal just shows, quote, the utter contempt for basic human dignity that the Trump administration has. And he added, and I'm quoting him now, that it shows Trump's desire to flout
leaders of some of those U.S. sanctuary cities. The mayor of Berkeley, California, says this: I am shocked but not surprised that once again this president is playing a on a political chessboard is outrageous and unethical. San Jose's mayor says in his city and Silicon Valley, we great country. And this from the district attorney of San Francisco. The fact that such a proposal is being peddled by the leader of the free world is an all-time low for American discourse. Give you a little sample of what reaction is from those areas. Well, the Trump administration announced earlier this month plans to aren't doing enough to mitigate the humanitarian crisis at the U.S. by the Trump administration, even though State Department statistics show that homicide rates went down and the number of migrants fleeing north dropped after a U.S. aid program was implemented there. But Mr. Trump decided to remove American dollars from these countries, and Mr. Pompeo here explains why.
Hundreds of millions of dollars spent in the Honduras and Guatemala and El Salvador, and you see the results. You see the results yesterday. You saw them last week. You see people fleeing those nations, throwing more money at this problem, which is what I think your question is suggesting. So what the Trump administration is trying to do is saying, hey, we're prepared to help, we're prepared to engage, we're prepared to support, but you have to take serious efforts, whether it's sure that their people aren't making this dangerous transit across Mexico and coming into our country illegally. That's what we're asking these countries to do. When they begin to do that, America's support will again return.
All right, let's talk more about what's at the University of Essex. She joins me from Colchester, England, frequent visitor to our program. We appreciate you. How are you doing, Natasha?
Good. Thanks for having me on again.
Sure. Well, we've got much to talk about because much is going on with this immigration saga here in the United States. Let's begin with the U.S. cutting off aid to the country's migrants.
No, it doesn't make sense at all, and really any study would disagree with that, because the aid is actually really critical to providing support services, security services to these countries that are deeply impoverished. I mean, Honduras was almost a failed state at one point and really required a tremendous amount of aid to deal with the growing drug problem, crime problem that they have. All these three countries have incredibly high homicide rates. It is through these programs that we can assist with that. It is not through cutting off aid to them. That is only going to exacerbate the immigration crisis, and that's why of cutting off aid just doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Well, President Trump certainly is determined to stem the tide of migrants where they're coming from, these countries we just mentioned, any way he can, even if it's against the law, the sanctuary cities. Shows the boundaries he is willing to push, doesn't it?
Exactly. It does really show that he's willing to test the boundaries of both public opinion and family separation policy. From a poll of 2018, 2/3 of the country is against the family separation policy. But he doesn't really care about that. He focuses on trying to energize his base with more hardline policies because he thinks that this is going to win votes in 2020. It's going to distract from other issues going on. White Republicans, 60% approved of his family separation policy and about 50% of educated white Republicans. So he thinks this is the strategy that is going to work by sort of flouting the law consistently and creating more hardline policies, more obstacles for immigration, more deportation, more reopening force, which, you know, something I hadn't even really heard of, that they're actually after already naturalized citizens. So, you know, he doesn't really care about what the majority of the country feels. He is trying to polarize the country as much as possible. And this whole idea of using human beings as a weapon and putting them on sanctuary cities against his enemies. I mean, his enemies, he's talking about the American public.
Right.
It is really astounding.
Yes. Unwilling to change immigration laws, and he even seems to kind of enjoy making them angry. Do you get a sense of that?
Well, that's Again, all about the fact that he loves getting his base riled up, getting them response, because then when they respond, then he can respond back, and this little playing back and forth and jibes going back and forth actually. He has no attempt ever to think about unifying the public, coming up with a comprehensive immigration plan that everybody can get on board with. And we understand that immigration has been an issue, but that doesn't necessitate trying to create winners and losers and to vilify the Democrats in this process.
Right. Every time he does something like this, Nancy Pelosi comes out and says her piece about it. We just heard from these sanctuary cities giving their opinion on this. Is there any room for compromise among both parties on immigration? I mean, clearly the system is broken, and all we are seeing is tit for tat and tit for tat. It just keeps going.
In the past, that they understood that this was something that could have been dealt with in a bipartisan way. Slowly, over the last 20 years, the Republican Party has grown increasingly more anti-immigration. We look at a poll, actually a thing, and on the flip side, 38% of Republicans think immigration is a good thing. That both Republicans and Democrats could kind of get on board with a comprehensive plan that was bipartisan and work together on this. This has become a hill to die on for Trump and the Republicans, and Republican Congress people have become at the moment.
Right, or room for sanity. You know, when you're discussing this issue, and therefore, I have a feeling you and I will be talking again. Natasha Linstat, we always appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thanks. Nice to see you again.
Thank you. All right, another topic we're following here. 6 weeks after the second summit between the U.S. and North Korea ended abruptly in failure, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, but with a catch. He says the U.S. must change its attitude. Another summit. Speaking before the Supreme People's Assembly in Pyongyang, Kim said, "What is obvious is that if the United States sticks to the current political and very dangerous." Well, let's go to Seoul, South Korea. Our Paula Hancock's always our correspondent on this beat. Hello to you, Paula. And so how do you decipher what North Korea means by that language? And so how should it...
Well, Natalie, it was an interesting speech, and it's really the first time that we've heard the North Korean leader directly talking about what happened in Hanoi and directly laying out what he wants to see going forward. So the United States can take some heart from this, the fact that he's not shutting the door on these talks, as was suggested a few weeks ago by the after Hanoi. So he's saying that he will be willing to meet with President Trump again, but there are he said that the United States has to change its way of calculation. He said that he's not willing and not happy to have another summit similar to Hanoi, where they walked away without any agreement. And he's nuclearization talks or any kind of talks with the United States. And it's actually the U.S. President, Donald Trump, who's saying that he has all the time in the world, saying that there's no need to rush this, and if they do rush it, then it wouldn't be a proper deal. So it is also interesting to see that the relationship he has with Mr. Trump is far less hostile than that between the two countries. So once again, he is criticizing and has been criticizing the United States. He's very careful not to criticize the U.S. leader himself. Natalie?
Right, we've seen that that oddity between these two for months now. But so let's talk about a go-between. You know, the South Korea president was just with President Trump. Can South Korea be somewhat of a mediator?
Well, this is exactly what the U.S. president has asked President Moon Jae-in to do. Whether he can is another matter. We heard after that meeting between President Trump and President Moon from the Blue House that as soon as President and President Trump had said report back to him once he knew how that was going to go. So he is still appearing to be some kind of mediator, the go-between. We've heard a very different opinion from those two leaders as to how that process. They're happy just for the momentum to keep going. President Trump says he wants the big deal. Natalie?
All right, we appreciate it. Paula Hancock's always helping us understand. Thank you, Paula. Another leader out in Sudan as the head of the military council steps down in that country just one day after taking plus two high-profile politicians at the intersection of religion and lifestyle in a feud over faith. The vice president and a candidate for president, both from the same state. That story when we come back.
You can now brush and floss at the same time. Introducing Waterpik Sonic Fusion, the first and only flossing toothbrush. The Sonic toothbrush effectively cleans the surfaces of your teeth, while the built-in water flosser pulses as regular brushing and flossing. This corn is like your teeth. Brushing, even with an electric toothbrush, only gets the surface. But Waterpik Sonic Fusion thoroughly
Call or go online now to receive Waterpik Sonic Fusion and a 3-year supply of brush heads plus free shipping. That's a total value of over $325. You can choose white with chrome trim or black with copper. Order right now.
Roman, for the first time ever, you can awkward talks or lines at the pharmacy. Get started with your free online visit at .com/TV.
Where some see a baker, I see an artist. I see Bridget of Bridget's Bake Shop, a Monet of muffins, a Cézanne of scones, a Leonardo of layer cakes. Bridget is a small business owner. Me, I'm the Hartford Buck.
The Buck's got your back.
Are you tired of talking and holding your phone at the same time or trying to find it while charging? Now, get your phone off its back and charge it where you can see it with Rattlesnake Coil, the coolest new way to charge your phone.
Rattlesnake Coil.
Look, just uncoil in shape and Rattlesnake Coil becomes a custom base or charging station to hold ends and twists into any shape, and the secure clips firmly keep your device locked in place. Quickly mount and unmount your device from the interchangeable snakehead that changes from a micro USB to USB to Lightning adapter to USB-C adapter in seconds. It works with every iPhone, iPod, tablet, Android device, and flip GPS and hands-free talking. Rattlesnake Coil twists to any shape to hold your phone in any position. Perfect as a tripod for taking pictures or video. And when you're done, hands get tired of holding your phone, Rattlesnake Coil holds it for you at the perfect hands-free angle. Get creative. The possibilities are endless. Phones can get lost. Keep your phone alarm within reach, so don't leave your device lying on its back. Sit it up, and 3 interchangeable snake heads for only $19.99. But hold on, order now and we'll double that offer. That's right, you get 2 rattlesnake coils and 6 snake heads for only $19.99. The incredible Rattlesnake Coil is not available in stores, so call or click now at rattlesnakecoil.com.
Welcome back. A story now at the intersection of 3 highly personal and highly volatile topics: religion, lifestyle, and politics. Has the story.
2 Hoosiers. One, the vice president, the other, a presidential hopeful. Both.
Pete has his convictions. I have mine.
Vice President Mike Pence, a former Indiana governor, reacting to criticism from South Bend, Indiana mayor and 2020 Democratic
bad policies. I don't have a problem with religion. I'm religious too. I have a problem with religion being used as a justification to harm people, and especially in the LGBTQ community.
Pence telling CNN's Dana Bash he doesn't have a problem with Buttigieg.
I considered him a friend.
But then taking a swat at the rising Democratic star.
I hope that Pete will offer more to the American people than attacks on my Christian faith or attacks on the president as he seeks the highest office in the land. Bible-believing Christian.
And is that belief that being gay is a sin?
My wife and I are Bible-believing Christians. We cherish our faith.
And the idea of it being a sin to be gay?
Who's Episcopalian, married husband Chasten in an Indiana church last year. Amen. He talks openly about his faith on the campaign trail.
When I talk about my faith, it's not because I believe it should be imposed on others, but it does guide me.
Buttigieg lobbed the first volley in his back and forth with Pence during a CNN town hall with Jake last month.
How could he allow himself to become
weekend at an LGBTQ fundraiser?
I wish the Mike Pences of the world would understand that if you got a problem with who I am, your problem is not with me. Your
governor and Buttigieg mayor of South Bend. Then Governor Pence backed the religious. The backlash was intense as critics argued it could be used to discriminate against the LGBT community. In his book, Buttigieg called it, quote, prejudice in the name of Christianity. 4 years later, he's making the same argument.
I'm not interested in feuding with the vice president, but if he wanted to clear this up, he could come out today and say he's changed his mind, that it shouldn't be legal to discriminate against any.
Today for an event his campaign is billing as a special announcement where he's expected to officially enter the 2020 race. Jessica Dean, CNN, Washington.
Well, speaking of discrimination, transgender Americans hoping to join the U.S. military will now face a major roadblock because of a controversial new policy now in effect. Under this new rule, most openly transgender people will be barred from enlisting unless they serve the policy does not affect transgender troops currently serving in the military. In Washington, students at Georgetown University are trying to repay descendants of slaves who were once sold by the school. A fee that would generate about $400,000 a year. And that money would be used to benefit the descendants of hundreds of slaves sold in 1838. The school's Board of Trustees needs to approve the bill first. A new home for Julian Assange. He's now out of the Ecuadorian embassy, but he is in the U.S. More about that as we push on here. You're watching CNN Newsroom.
And for everybody's busy schedule, you can book appointments online for every product. You have HomeAdvisor. Go to HomeAdvisor.com.
Watch the horns!
What you don't see can hurt you. More, like your personal information on the dark web. And now with the power of Norton, we detect threats like ransomware too, to help protect your identity and devices. Plus, if there's an identity theft problem, we'll work to fix it with our $1 Million Protection Package. Get LifeLock with Norton, starting at $9.99 a month.
Have you or a loved one had hernia mesh implanted specifically for hernia repair and had serious complications, including infection, wound reopening, chronic pain, bowel obstruction, or had revision or repair surgery? You may have been a victim of a product that was defectively designed, and you may be entitled to compensation. Hernia repair surgeries are one of the most common surgeries performed in the United States. Hernia's reopening when hernia mesh has been implanted. If you or a loved one had hernia mesh implanted specifically for hernia repair and have experienced serious complications, including infection, wound reopening, chronic pain, bowel obstruction, or you fight for the compensation you deserve, you choose the right legal team that has
It's cleaning season. Protection. This spring, take on even the grimiest messes with the power of Lysol. Kills 99.9% of germs with 0% bleach.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta explores Japan. Tonight at 9 Eastern.
Are you thinking of buying a stair lift? This essential free guide will answer all your questions. You can find out how a stair lift can improve your life in a few easy steps with this free guide on buying a stair lift. What type of stair lift will suit my home? What difference can a stair lift make in my life? Answers to these and many more with this free guide to buying a stair lift. A stair lift can be crucial to you staying independent in your own home. They were invented to make your life easier. And this free $56.51 for your free copy of your guide to buying a stair lift and have all of your stair lift questions answered today. 1-800-979-5651.
Andrew Yang, a presidential town hall.
And welcome back. You're watching CNN Newsroom Live from Atlanta. I'm Natalie Allen. Thanks for staying with us. Here are our top stories. President Trump confirming reports he is considering a highly controversial plan to release undocumented immigrants into so-called sanctuary cities in the United States. He says it is because Democrats will not go along with his immigration policies, singling out California using human beings as political pawns. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un says he is open to a third summit with the United States, but stresses until the end of the year to decide if it wants another summit. The last one in Hanoi ended abruptly in failure. Well, a day after WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange was arrested. One of his frequent collaborators is now also in custody. Ecuadorian officials arrested Ola Bini. The Swedish man is being held in an investigation into meddling into Ecuador's affairs by Assange and others. On Thursday, as you recall, Assange was arrested at Ecuador's embassy in London, where he's been holed up. London for us. Hello to you, Salma. What first do we know about this second arrest that occurred in Ecuador?
Well, Natalie, we know his name is Ola Bini, as you said. He is a software developer who was living in Ecuador. He is known to have come here to London to visit Assange several times over the years at the Ecuadorian embassy here. Political affairs in an attempt to destabilize the government of President Moreno. Now, this is, of course, an interesting offshoot, if you will, of the story, but it's years of being holed up in that embassy. Did Ecuadorian officials finally allow London police to come in and arrest Julian Assange? Well, the answer really lies in that relationship between Ecuador and Assange. Under the previous administration, the WikiLeaks founder had to Ecuador. Once Moreno was elected, he made clear that he wanted Assange out. He called him an inherited problem. There were new rules imposed on Assange. He had to clean up after himself. He had to take better care of his cat. He couldn't have any visitors, according to Ecuadorian officials. They say he would ride around on his scooter, blare music, insult staff, act aggressively. One official even said he was smearing feces on the walls of the embassy. So really, when we saw those images of Assange being dragged out on Thursday out of the embassy, bad that situation had gotten inside the embassy, Natalie.
Right. I mean, 7 years holed up in one building. So what's next for Assange? Any word, Salma, on his condition?
Well, Natalie, he's really gone from one confined space to another. Of course, he spent that Belmarsh prison in East London. This is a maximum security prison where high-profile suspects, including terror suspects, are often held. We don't know the exact conditions that he's in, but you can only imagine that spending those days and months that are coming in that prison, if that is the case, will be difficult legal battles. One in the UK, essentially for skipping bail, which found him guilty of on Thursday, a potential sentence of 12 months. The second legal battle, a potential extradition to the United States for charges of computer intrusion, essentially a legal term meaning hacking. And that, of course, is about his conspiring with then U.S. officer Chelsea Manning. And then there's the third legal battle, which is Sweden. Swedish So a lot to come here in this continuing.
Depending on what you think of him, he's either a villain or a hero to some people. So Salma Abdelaziz with the latest. Thank you so much. We'll see you again. Well, the president and former vice president of South Sudan had a dramatic meeting with Pope Francis at the Vatican. They were at a spiritual retreat on Thursday aimed at ending the violence that has plagued their country. The Pope.
E a voi tre che avete firmato l'accordo di pace.
And to the three of you who have signed the peace agreement,
vi chiedo come fratello
move, the Pope then knelt down and kissed the feet of the two former rivals in a gesture of peace and reconciliation. Officer and the suspect in the arson fires of 3 historically black churches in Louisiana. We'll tell you what led officials to him as we come back here. Also ahead, the southern U.S. bracing for impact from a string of severe storms. Find out where they'll hit first, where they're heading. Derek Van Dam will have that for us. See you in a minute.
Remember that degree you got in taxation? Of course you don't, because you didn't. Your job isn't.
For $4,600 at tax time. QuickBooks, backing you.
Hundreds of ways to personalize products for your home and business.
That's fast.
Our easy-to-use design tools.
It's my design.
Fast service.
Perfect.
And affordable, high-quality products will inspire you again and again to customize, create, and grow your business. GP New to get 10% off your first order as a new customer.
Check your credit scores.
For business, we were paying like an arm and a leg for the postage. I remember setting up ShipStation. I think it was just like 1 or 2 clicks. Everything was up and running. I was printing out labels and saving.
Pop the label onto the box and it's ready to go.
Our cost for shipping, like we're just like that.
ShipStation, the #1 choice of online sellers. Go to shipstation.com/TV and get 2 months free.
This crap about Watergate, son of a bitching thing. No reporter from the Washington Post just ever be in the White House again.
Frank Thomas.
Then I found Nugenix Total T.
New Nugenix Total T is our most powerful man-boosting formula ever because it boosts your free testosterone and your total testosterone.
Nugenix helped me feel better. I feel stronger. I have more energy.
I have the energy and the stamina and the strength. It makes me feel awesome.
From the brand that brought you GNC's testosterone and muscle-boosting ingredients for even better results.
With Nugenix Total T, 40 was just another number.
Text EASY to 231-231. Now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. That's EASY. To 231-231.
Marianne Williamson, a presidential town hall.
Son of a local sheriff's deputy with 3 counts of arson of a religious building. 3 historically black churches were set alight over 10 days. CNN law enforcement analyst Josh Campbell picks up the story.
This is what's left of Mount Pleasant Baptist Church here in Opelousas, Louisiana. The last scene to be released by investigators in a case involving fires at 3 predominantly is now left in rubble. Nothing is salvageable. Authorities believe this is the work of a 21-year-old local resident, the son of a sheriff's deputy who conducted not only this attack, but the 2 others. Now, in law enforcement investigations, arsons are among the most difficult to investigate. That the suspect purchased at a local store along with cloth and a lighter using his own debit card. For his part, he faces 3 charges of arson. investigation continues. Now, we spoke to the local pastor who tells us that although the perpetrator's goal may have been to divide, he's actually united them, and that it's their faith that's getting them through. He tells us this church will be rebuilt. Josh Campbell, CNN, St. Landry Parish, Louisiana.
Such a waste in that.
Tomorrow being Sunday local time, let's talk about what's happening this afternoon and this evening across the Deep South. The Storm Prediction Center has a moderate risk of storms that could produce particularly strong tornadoes, specifically across central and northern Louisiana, eastern Texas, southern Arkansas, and western Mississippi. We are going to keep a very close eye on this because our computer models are showing they have the potential to produce long-track, dangerous EF later this evening. And then look how the system starts to move eastward. Look out into Alabama. Look out into Georgia. More on that in just 1 second. The CNN Weather Center has developed a tornado potential map just to show you when the greatest risk exists. So we're 6 p.m. right through 9 p.m. and then we start to see that risk slowly. Radar shows plenty of thunderstorm activity at the moment. Lots of lightning strikes. Areas that we're highlighting for Saturday, but look at the threat moving eastward into the Appalachians in the southern Ohio River Valley for the day on Sunday. By the way, this includes Atlanta all the way to Charleston, even Louisville and Columbus, Ohio. So a large swath of we do expect about a 40% chance of rain today, maybe a thunderstorm popping up that could the probability of severe weather, and maybe we'll see some of those times pushed back a little bit just to get the game started earlier. Here's a look at the synoptic map. You can kind of see how the storm evolves, and I gotta fit this in here because there's a potential for a full-on snowstorm from Chicago all the way to Grand Rapids and Detroit, Michigan. So they could see up to 6 inches all spring to winter. Depends on where you're located, right? This is going to cool our temperatures considerably across the Great Lakes all the way to the East Coast, but not for long. We just made it up here at CNN.
I like it.
Snow, it's actually dirt transported from Texas and New Mexico and brought over in the form of snow in Minnesota. It tainted that color into a brownish looking white, and yeah, it's snert.
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 That good idea. All right, Derek, thank you, and we'll goes all right on Sunday.
Yeah, me too.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, some people in Sudan are celebrating after 2 of the nation's controversial leaders are out. Before, when the long-term dictator, President Omar al-Bashir, was ousted. The ruling military council plans to stay in control for at least 2 years to oversee transition of power, but protesters want a civilian government now. CNN's Farais Vinzo joins us from Nairobi, Kenya. For what they want with the citizen government, is the current government list?
The current government, no matter what clothes they may wear or what words they may say, are still perceived to be from the military. Now, late last night, we had incredible drama on the Sudan front. Mr. that he's stepping down in favor of yet another former military man. The situation has not helped to dissipate the tension that's around the departure of al-Bashir. Just consider this, for example, Natalie, that reports now that 16 have died. Unconfirmed reports that prison inmates up in Darfur, this is not all about Khartoum, the capital. The tensions are very high, and of course, the first thing that the military council did was impose a 1-month curfew from 10 o'clock at night to 4 o'clock in the morning. That's been rigorously flouted all over the place for the last 48 hours. And in that flouting of this curfew law, guns were going off. So we're at the moment very concerned about just how many casualties occurred overnight after the Sudanese people, in their protest, got rid of not one leader in Omar al-Bashir, but 2 in the new chief of the military council.
So many people on the streets, and so hope this can remain peaceful. That's not good news that you share with us there, but let's talk about the peace.
Sudan, the CNN team found her yesterday. We're waiting for that footage to come in, and it's impossible to believe that such youth had such exuberance for freedom. But they have set an example for the rest of Sudan. It's facing live ammunition every day, and yet they go back to the military headquarters. It's an astounding kind of standoff, but which, as I say, in a...
All right, we'll continue to watch it closely. We appreciate your reporting and insights for us. It's really tremendous what's happening, and we so hope it goes the citizens' way. Farai Savinso for us. Great to see you. Thanks, Farai. All right, this next story, we think you'll like it. A rookie cop goes above and beyond to help a bullied child.
We weren't going to let a 9-year-old
to remember. That's coming next. There will be a second date, but
today, Molly's getting dressed for her first girl stylist for jeans that fit just right. And these feel like they were made just for her. At Stitch Fix, we don't just see your size or your style. We see you. Let us find your perfect fit at StitchFix.com.
Seriously? You thought $200 was a good deal?
No, I'd never pay that for a hotel.
Well, how'd you do it then?
Yes. How? Hotel from hundreds of websites worldwide to find the ideal hotel for you.
Look for
For sinus relief that's all natural and drug-free, experience Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, through the nose, and out the other. Germs. Breathe better with Navage. It's nature's decongestant, all natural, drug-free.
I love that clean nose feeling.
At CVS and Walgreens.
Are you
tired of talking and holding your phone at the same time, or trying to find it while it's charging? Now, get your phone off its back and charge it where you can see it with Rattlesnake. It's a custom base or charging station to hold your phone wherever you need it. Keep your phone steady at high level for hands-free reading, watching videos, or FaceTime while charging or syncing. Keep your device locked in place. Quickly mount and unmount your device from the interchangeable snakehead that changes from a micro USB to USB to light. Rattlesnake coil is super tough. You'll never have to replace a cable again. Great for the car. Keep your phone close at hand for following the GPS and hands-free talking. Rattlesnake coil twists to any shape to hold your phone in any position. Perfect as a tripod for taking pictures or video. And when you're done, the extra long rattlesnake coil rolls. Coil holds it for you at the perfect hands-free angle. Get creative. The possibility endless. Phones can get lost in the clutter, but with Rattlesnake Coil, your phone is easier to see and easier to use. Keep your phone alarm within reach, so don't leave flexible Rattlesnake Coil and 3 interchangeable snake heads for only $9. 2 Rattlesnake coils and 6 snake heads for only $19.99. The incredible Rattlesnake Coil is not available in stores, so call or click now at rattlesnakecoil.com.
Closed captioning brought to you by Page Publishing. We help publish, distribute, and sell your book.
Have you written a book and want it published? Thousands of authors have with Page Publishing. If we decide to publish you, your work ends and ours begins.
Call for your free author submission kit.
Talk about going beyond the call of duty. In Michigan, a 9-year-old boy was afraid that no one would show up to his birthday party. So a rookie cop stepped in. CNN.
Grand Rapids police officer Austin Lynema and 9-year-old Thomas Daniel, fast friends.
I might be bringing you more gifts later, but I'll see you Sunday for the other birthday party, okay?
Year-old in need, capturing it all on body cam video.
You live in this building?
I was clearing a call on Kendall Street and saw Thomas running down the sidewalk, trying to catch up to his bus, crying.
So you knew immediately that he was in distress?
Yes, yeah, yep.
Thomas, along with his mom and brother who immigrated from Tanzania, was devastated. A day.
Mom wasn't able to take Thomas to school. She doesn't have a car, so I asked if it was okay if I brought Thomas to school, and she told me it was. And showed up to school, you know, all my lights were on and everything like that.
So you
for
did
him,
the whole works?
Everything, yep. he was class.
What time is your birthday party going?
Lynema and his partner decided on a surprise of their own.
I ring the doorbell, and he comes out of his balcony and sees me and my partner. Comes downstairs and gives me and my partner a hug. And so we asked him, hey,
the next day, Lynema and fellow officers went the extra mile.
I was able to get Krispy Kreme donuts for him, personalized happy birthday, Grand Rapids Police goodie bag that had shirts, hats, stickers, you know, all the works for him.
So you guys...
Danny and Janice.
The story made the news, and now cards.
Thomas, hope your 9th birthday is your best year yet.
And gifts have turned Thomas friends today, possibly partners down the road.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
A Grand Rapids police.
Can you say hi?
Do you really?
Dad.
You need help? All right.
Line him up from a family of public servants driven to go above and beyond, helping a young man and his family as they begin their.
Okay, so never say all the news is bad. How about that one? So heartwarming. We'll continue right after this, another hour of CNN Newsroom.
There are so many services out there that will tell you your credit score. They're all and gave me strategies on how to make it better. Check out Credit Sesame.
Not getting enough cash back with that credit card? Turn to the nerds. Are your credit cards working hard enough for you? At NerdWallet, we sort through hundreds of credit cards to find you the lowest rates and the sweetest perks like balance transfers and travel. Using your preferences to narrow your search, NerdWallet makes it easy to compare and find
I landed. I saw my leg did not look right.
I was just finishing a ride. I felt this awful.
I had a DVT blood clot. Having one really puts you in danger of having another.
My doctor and I chose Xarelto.
Xarelto to help keep me protected.
Patients on Xarelto did not experience another DVT or PE. Don't stop taking Xarelto without talking to your doctor, as this may increase risk of blood clots. While taking, you may bleeding. It may increase your risk of bleeding if you take certain medicines. Get help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising. Do not take Xarelto if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding.
Learn all you can
to help protect yourself from another DVT or PE.
Your doctor about Xarelto. To learn more about cost and how Janssen can help, visit Xarelto.com.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta explores Japan, where some live long lives and others work themselves to death. Chasing Life, tonight at 9.
All your questions. You can find out how a stair lift can improve your life in a few all of your questions answered. What should I think about when buying a stair lift? What type of stair lift will suit my home? What difference can a stair lift make in my life? Stair lift. A stair lift can be crucial to you staying independent in your own home. Stair lifts will make it easier for you to choose the one that's right for you. So call now, 1-800-979-5651 for your free copy of your guide to buying a stair lift and have all of your stair lift questions answered today. 1-800-979-5651.
This is CNN. The most trusted name in news.
We want more people in their sanctuary.
U.S. President Donald Trump unleashing on Democrats, saying he's strongly considering releasing migrants into so-called sanctuary cities, despite warnings doing so might be against the law. Also this hour, a message from announcement. Also, people across Sudan take a closer step towards democracy after the man who led the country's military coup steps latest on that. Welcome to our viewers here in the U.S. and all around the world. I'm Natalie Allen, and this is CNN Newsroom. The U.S. president coming under fire for his extreme immigration policy. Critics warn he's trying to go around the rule of law to administration officials tell CNN during a visit last week to the U.S. border official if he was jailed for illegally blocking asylum seekers from entering the country. It's not clear if the president was joking about that. Of detained migrants to U.S. sanctuary cities, in part to retaliate against Democrats for not supporting his immigration plan. House correspondent Abby Phillip.
Controversial proposal to bus undocumented immigrants to so-called sanctuary cities by Democrats.
We are looking at the possibility, strongly looking at, to be honest with you, a lot of sanctuary cities, so we'll give them to the sanctuary cities maybe to take care of it.
Trump contradicting his own aides, who just hours earlier had insisted in a statement that the idea was briefly and informally raised and quickly rejected.
And when you have sanctuary cities, you have
Nielsen to implement the plan twice in recent months. Nielsen, who was fired this week, resisted, and lawyers at the department determined the idea was likely illegal. But Trump's objective is simple: political retribution aimed at sanctuary cities led by Democrats, including Nancy Pelosi's home district, San Francisco.
That is unworthy of the presidency of the United States and disrespectful of the challenges that we...
City's idea is just the latest in a series of hardline approaches that the administration considered as they dealt with the new flood of undocumented immigrants crossing in and flirted with reinstating his policy of separating undocumented families at the border.
I want to thank all of them.
Amid the blowback, Vice President Mike Pence emphasizing that Trump has now When President Trump said that they are moving forward with this sanctuary cities proposal, he was not referring to the one that has already been rejected by Department of Homeland Security lawyers. They're saying they're having lawyers look at new ways that they might be able to implement this without violating the law. How that might happen, no one really knows right now, but the White House.
And reaction is coming in from the leaders of some of those U.S. sanctuary cities. Here's a sample for you. This from the District Attorney of San Francisco. The fact that such a proposal is being peddled by the leader of the free world is an all-time bill to end the city's agreement with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, tweeted, "This fear-mongering is feeding the rise of hate crimes in our country and is nothing more than a xenophobic game of partisan politics. We are better than this." And the mayor of Seattle, Washington, tweeted, "Time and again, we have seen this administration weaken the moral standing of America and undermine true public safety. Seattle will continue to fight for the dignity of every person and will not allow any administration to destroy the promise of America." Well, the Trump administration announced earlier this month to mitigate the humanitarian crisis at the U.S. southern border. Went down and the number of migrants fleeing to the north dropped after U.S. aid programs were implemented. But Mr. Trump,
hundreds of millions of dollars spent in the Honduras and El Salvador, and you see the results. You see the results yesterday. You saw them last week. You see people fleeing those nations, throwing more money at this problem, which is just trying to do is saying, hey, we're prepared to help. We're prepared to engage. We're prepared to support. But you have to take serious efforts, whether it's in Guatemala, El Salvador, in Nicaragua, and Mexico, for that matter, too. We need those nations to ensure that their people aren't making. That's what we're asking these countries to do. When they begin to do that, America's support will again return.
Effort to reunite families separated by force at the border. A new report released Friday shows more than 2,000 children have been reunited with their parents so far, but the crisis isn't over yet. There are reunited because the parents were deemed unfit or dangerous, or because they waived reunification. And watchdog groups say there could still be thousands more separated families that aren't on any list. The U.S. government says they're ready to hire contractors to help identify them. Much to sort through here, and joining us now, James Boyes, a professor of international political studies at Richmond, the American University in London. James, we appreciate it. Obviously, from these stories that we've just been reporting, to stem the tide of migrants any way he can, even if it's against the law. This, of course, idea with sanctuary cities. What's your reaction to these latest attempts on
Morning, Natalie. Well, there's no doubt about it that what we're seeing here with this latest round of announcements is very much Donald Trump trying to. What I think you're seeing is increasing frustration by this president, and also it reveals, I think, his lack of overall political experience. He's not surrounded through how to appreciate not only the law but also the bureaucracy in the United States. Their jobs within the administration, and the people who are suffering most of all, of course, are those people on the border who, of course, are now very much at the whim of this White House. Room staff say, "Oh, don't worry about it. You're taking him literally or seriously." Not literally. And this, of course, has been a problem trying to understand what Donald Trump's policies have been about all along.
All the more complicated for so many people that have so much at stake. The people working for him and behind this. One person in particular is Stephen Miller, the president's 33-year-old hardline approach, and that includes a shakeup at the Department of Homeland Security. Right now, the 4 people at the top are all acting officers. Would you expect even more surprises, perhaps on immigration ideas, as this agency, if the president has his ear?
Well, I think anybody who doesn't expect the unexpected moving forward from Donald Trump hasn't been paying attention for the past 2.5 years. Quite frankly. Let's not forget also that it isn't just the Department of Homeland Security which is being staffed by temporary individuals. You know, the White House itself, a bizarrely staffed administration at this point. Stephen Miller, I think, is someone who has managed to take very astute advantage of his very particular role within this administration. He is, as you rightly pointed out there, an advisor to the president. That means that he serves purely at the pleasure of the president. He does not need to be approved by the Senate to be confirmed for that position. He is in many ways a buffer. He sits between the president and those heads of department, as you rightly point out. Kirstjen Nielsen was the last department head to get the brunt of this. He can play a sort of goading him, acting in very similar way that Steve Bannon, his former mentor, used to do, but also I think learning from Bannon by trying to walk
of this White House. Do you think what we see with this immigration debate in the U.S. is reflective on a larger scale of the migration issues that have also affected much debate in Europe?
There's no doubt about it. The question about how to address migration flows across the world have become a great debate for leaders to wrangle with. And we've seen, for example, people's views allowing too many people into the country. And indeed, I think many people were surprised how close the last elections were in Germany. Barack Obama. It seems that I think Donald Trump is learning a lesson here with regard will be responsible for electing him or not electing him for a second term of office come next year. I think Donald Trump is perhaps rightly from a but of course there are broader, wider questions about responsibility and morality in politics, which perhaps Donald Trump is paying less attention to.
We really appreciate your perspectives. James Boyes joining us from London. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, it appears North Korean leader Kim Jong-un may be dangling a diplomatic, something that President Trump referenced this week. But Kim stresses the U.S. must before the Supreme People's Assembly in Pyongyang. Kim said he will give the U.S. until the heat of the failed summit 6 weeks ago in Hanoi, Vietnam. Let's talk about this new development with our Paula Hancock. She's joining. The question is, what direction exactly is North Korea seeking from the U.S.? How do you decipher this?
Well, Natalie, it's no secret that that North Korea was pretty much blindsided by the fact that the Hanoi summit ended without an agreement, as was South Korea and much of the rest of the world. And so North Korea is saying that through Kim Jong that it is not the same as that summit. He is saying that he wants the U.S. to change their current way of calculation. So he's effectively said, now it's clear that the two countries have a different idea of. We've heard just this week President Trump saying he wants the big deal. He wants complete denuclearization, whereas North Korea wants a step-by-step process. They want more of a quid pro quo. They want some sanctions to be lifted in return for difference between the two sides as to what they want to do. One interesting point was about the timeline. We heard from the North Koreans, which is unusual because they're usually in it this year for Mr. Trump to decide whether or not he wants to meet and change pushing things forward and more quickly. You have President Trump saying that he has all the time in the world, saying that he doesn't want a fast deal because he thinks that won't be a good deal. Although Korea is leaving the door open. Just a few weeks ago, you had the Deputy Foreign Minister saying Kim Jong-un doesn't even know if he wants to continue these talks after Hanoi. So it does show that Kim Jong-un still wants to talk. He talked about sending and receiving letters with the... As I say, there are definite conditions. Natalie?
Yes, we'll wait and see how South Korea might help mediate this as well. Thank you so much. He's sent to the U.S. to face charges. Now police are rounding up some of his collaborators. Americans are under a tornado watch as a dangerous storm system brews across the south. We'll have your weather update as well. Stay with us.
Where some see an account, I see a superhero. I see Gary Greer. Deductions. Gary is a small business, and I see nothing small in small business.
Hartford Small Business Insurance. The Bucks got your back.
Dun, dun, dun.
History of scarring or are taking medicines that decrease the body's immune response or that can prolong bleeding. Common side effects include injection site redness, swelling, pain, tenderness, firmness, lumps, bumps, bruising, discoloration, or itching. As with all fillers, there is a rare risk of unintentional injection into Juvederm.
I come to play.
Even in my own home, I had my own designated space to smoke. If I think about it, it really was like I was punishing myself. A friend of mine said, why wouldn't you just try the Juul? And so I went out and I bought one. The idea of going back to smoking, I couldn't even imagine doing that. I don't think anyone, including myself, thought that I could switch.
And so do their weaving, handcrafts, art, traditions, and rituals. Live Maya culture.
With rewards points that never expire, you get free nights fast. Now stay 2 separate times and get a free night. Book now at bestwestern.com.
Hard work leaves a mark. It shows on your clothes. The job throws at you. For the hardest workers, we've designed the hardest working Tide, so you can leave your mark on the world.
One day after WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange was arrested, one of his frequent collaborators is also in custody. Ecuadorian officials arrested this man, Ola Bini. The Swedish man is being held in an investigation into meddling into Ecuador's affairs by Assange and others. On Thursday, Assange was arrested at Ecuador's embassy in London, where he's been holed up for almost 7 of conspiring to steal military secrets. Let's get the latest now on some of these new developments from our Salma Abdelaziz. She's in London for us, and hello to you, Salma. First up, what do we know about this latest arrest that occurred in Ecuador?
Well, Natalie, we know that Ola Bini, as you've just named him there, is a Swedish software here in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, and Ecuadorian officials accuse him of meddling in the country's internal political affairs in an attempt to destabilize the government. Now, this is, of course, an interesting. Why, after 7 years of being holed up in that embassy, did Ecuador staff finally allow London police to enter the building and arrest Julian Assange? Under the previous administration, he had enjoyed protection. He'd been granted elected in 2017. Things began to sour. He called Assange an unwanted guest, described him as an inherited problem, imposed new rules visitors, and most importantly, he lost his access to internet. Not do well with these new rules. He was reportedly lashing out on staff, according to Ecuadorian officials. He would act aggressively, behave in a hostile manner. One Ecuadorian official even accusing him of smearing feces on the wall. Man with that long gray beard, the stringy hair. One wonders just how bad.
And we can see how he deteriorated, certainly his attitude, his mental state, and his appearance. Sama Abdelaziz, thank you. All right, let's talk about what's going on in the United States. A powerful storm system expected to cause much trouble across central southern U.S.
Louisiana and western sections of Mississippi for the potential for single long track dangerous tornadoes today. They have an enhanced, actually a moderate risk. A 5 rating in terms of highest rating for severe weather. Now, this is the area that we're bullseyeing here again across, some of which could range from an EF2 to an EF5. This evening, roughly about 7 to 10 p.m., that's when our computer models are showing some of those single track multi-thunderstorms that are moving across the area that will push eastward, eventually bringing the severe weather threat along with it as well. We have another parameter to show you just when the greatest risk of these stronger thunderstorms are the sky. If you're located here, this will definitely impact your plans, and it will be a very dangerous day if you're located there. So keep an eye, and also keep listening to some of your local as we speak. Lots of lightning, lots of thunderstorms, of course. The sun not we'll see the thunderstorms refire, and they could potentially become life-threatening. You can see that chance of severe weather shifting eastward for the day on Sunday. Impacted by strong to severe thunderstorms on Sunday. Here's a look at the weather forecast for this area. Up to an 80% chance of rainfall on Sunday afternoon, and hopefully they'll move those tea times back a few hours just so they can get the storms underway. Into Detroit, that's another thing we're monitoring. Let me bring it to Minnesota really quick because you have to see this. Have you ever heard of the term snert? It's actually a thing. It's a video of created that brown tint to the snow.
Minnesota's like, hey, Texas, keep your dirt in Texas.
Yeah, you keep that down there. We don't need it.
All right, Derek, thanks a lot. Border up next, why legal experts say his tactics are against the law who want to serve their country.
There are volcanoes, towns, and sunsets. Atitlan Lake, serenity calls you. Guatemala.
Bacteria lurk just below the gum line.
Crest Gum Detoxify, voted product of the year. Fast.
Wireless for $15 a month. That's not right.
It's right, all right.
That's not right.
Kind of like your wireless bill. Get Mint Mobile for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com.
We believe in rock and roll. We believe in blasting it down the fairway. We believe in life well led, in your own beautiful, smartly designed like it here.
Okay, I'll admit I didn't keep my place as clean as I would like because I'm way too busy. Who's got the time to chase around dirt, dust, and hair? So now, I use heavy-duty Swiffer sweeper and dusters. For hard-to-reach places, Duster makes it easy to clean. It captures dust in one swipe. Ha! Gotcha. And Sweeper heavy-duty cloths lock away twice as much dirt and dust. It gets stuck deep in the clean.
Only Tylenol Rapid Release Gels have laser-drilled holes. They release medicine fast for fast pain relief. Tylenol.
Washington Post is ever be in the White House again.
Time for new reading glasses? Go to Readers.com. Readers.com also has readers hard to find in stores, like readers, reading sunglasses, and computer readers. Choose from hundreds of fashionable styles and colors for under $20. Then just type in this coupon code at checkout and you'll save up to 40% through this exclusive TV offer. Order now free because they're backed by our happiness guarantee. Save up to 40%. Convenient, fast delivery, and a happiness guarantee. So go online to Readers.com to find your perfect pair of reading glasses for under $20. Don't miss this exclusive TV offer to save up to 40% now. Go to Readers.com and enter this coupon code at checkout. That's Readers.com.
Andrew Yang, a presidential town hall. Tomorrow night at 7 Eastern on CNN.
Welcome back to our viewers here in the U.S. and third summit with the United States, but stresses the U.S. must change attitude. Kim says he'll give the U.S. until the end of the year to decide if it wants another summit. The last one in Hanoi ended abruptly in failure. In Ecuador. Meantime, Assange is waiting possible extradition to the United States. He faces a charge that he conspired to hack into a pension of longtime dictator President Omar al-Bashir. The group leading anti-government demonstrations welcomes this latest resignation, but they want and are demanding a government run by civilians. Pardon a top border official if he was jailed for illegally blocking asylum seekers from entering the U.S. A Department of Homeland Security border officials to do anything illegal. But the U.S. entering the southern U.S. border. On Friday, Mr. Trump said his administration should send detained migrants to sanctuary cities as a way to prove a point to Democrats who don't support his border. But Mr. Trump seems to be leaning into the controversy.
We'll bring them to sanctuary city areas and have open arms. They're always saying they have open arms. Let's see if they have open arms.
Joining me now is Rose Quizon-Villazor. Rose is an immigration law professor at Rutgers University. She joins me from our Los Angeles bureau. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, Natalie.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So let's talk first about the president's plan to send migrants to
general, then we'll talk about its legality. First of all, your response.
Here, the president is abusing his executive powers by using. And the second point here is that there's a question as in a political motivated strategy to punish his political
way to get even for not getting his wall. But apparently, even though the White House said Thursday that this plan was dead, the sanctuary city plan, that this wasn't going to happen, now we learn that President Trump is trying to figure out a way to still
of a policy. The Department of Homeland Security can only engage in certain actions that are part of its mission to enforce immigration law. Policy that is ill-conceived and is politically motivated.
And also we've learned, CNN has learned, that the president has told the acting head block asylum seekers. That would completely be against U.S. law, would it not?
Absolutely. That is also, yes. A government official and allowing him to break the law. So not only does that violate the pardon power, but one can say that that is also a form of conspiracy.
And another thing that's going on is also still in effect. Do you see that continuing, and would that help at all? Alleviate the crush of cases at the border, or are you?
Has had this protocol that forces asylum seekers to stay in Mexico until their case can be heard. That particular protocol, a nationwide injunction, so that that protocol, that policy will not be enforced. But just today, the Ninth Circuit and a 3-judge panel set in place by the district court. And so we'll hear next week there will be oral arguments before the Ninth Circuit as to the legality of this particular
immigration policy through Congress. He can't get his wall built, so it seems that he's looking for avenues to curtail migrants.
The president is above the law. And thankfully, the courts are there to ensure the Constitution and the due process rights of migrants are followed. The president's own different policies that he tried to implement violate constitutional and statutory principles. He's not above the law, and that's ultimately what courts will have to examine.
We'll continue to discuss it. Of course, we really appreciate your expertise. Rose Cuison-Villazor, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Critics call it bigoted, but the Defense Department says it will continue to treat everyone with respect. CNN's Alex Marquardt looks at how the policy will impact the armed services.
The new policy started Friday, essentially banning transgender individuals from joining the U.S. military.
gender dysphoria and aspects of this condition that may limit a service member's ability to deploy. So in order to maintain a ready and lethal force, the military must set high standards and consistent standards across the services.
According to the Pentagon, transgender troops serving now can continue, but with some exceptions, those who have been diagnosed with medical treatment to change their gender cannot join. The highly controversial masquerading as policy. Former Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus, calling it discriminatory. Every American should be able to serve their country, and I can't believe we're still debating that in 2019. The highest levels of military leadership were blindsided by the U.S. military. The top U.S. general has consistently said he is happy to have transgender troops who are ready to fight.
I believe any individual who meets the physical and mental standards and is worldwide deployable and is currently serving should
of transgender troops to serve openly. As for how the United States feels about this ban, a recent Quinnipiac poll said that 70%
He spoke about it Friday, sort of. CNN's Laura Jarrett's following the story.
The Justice Department is being has overseen the probe since the very beginning, offering a few clues about what we may see as early as next week. In a speech at a private luncheon in Washington, the Deputy Attorney General about the Russian campaign to interfere in the 2016 election. Now, we know from the Attorney General Bill Barr's 4-page summary of Mueller's principal conclusions that the report from Russian-affiliated individuals to assist the Trump campaign. As for why Rosenstein talked about this at this luncheon, an official told me that he made the comment to emphasize that the core of the Mueller investigation, that Russian interference in the election, was thoroughly investigated and charged. Laura Jarrett, CNN, Washington.
He steps down, but protesters are still demanding democracy. We'll have a report after this.
Hi, I'm Annette. It's so hard to get rid of. I came across Plexiderm and I was so excited. We have a model, his name is Richie, and all he's doing is taking a small amount. It's so powerful, that's all it takes. And what I love about Plexiderm is you don't have to worry about the injections, the expensive plastic surgeons, because this is something that you can do in the convenience of your own home. It's a cream, it's a topical. It literally creates an invisible layer that tightens the skin wrinkles, and it visibly disappears in as little as 10 minutes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean,
I can't even believe that this worked. I was a little skeptical. I am not going to lie, because I saw people online with it. I'm like, yeah, right, that can't possibly work.
That big of a difference, and I felt something happening, but I had no idea. Like, I have so many dark circles, I have the puffiness.
because I was skeptical. Yes, I admit it. 4 minutes, 34 seconds. The appearance of his under eye bag was completely gone. We were screaming. You have an event, you have any of those moments where you want to feel the best about yourself. I am telling you, the videos that you see on social media and TV are real. Right now, you can get Plexiderm for up to 50% off, plus get free shipping. Order yours at plexiderm.com or call the number on your screen.
Chasing Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta, tonight at 9 Eastern on CNN.
Frank Thomas, a.k.a. the Big Hurt, used to keep pretty busy on the baseball field, but now he's busier than ever.
After I turned, then I found Nugenix Total T.
New Nugenix Total T is our most powerful. To get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, text EASY to 23123.
Nugenix helped me feel better. I feel stronger. I have more energy.
I have the energy and the stamina and the strength. It makes me feel awesome.
From the brand that brought you GNC's #1 vitality product, new Nugenix Total T helps provide even more energy. Perform.
T, 40 was just another number.
Text EASY to 231-231. Now. 231-231.
The Redemption Project with Van Jones premieres Sunday, April 20th.
People cheering in the streets erupting after the head of Sudan's military transitional announced he was stepping down. The lieutenant general took on the role the day before when long-term dictator President Omar al-Bashir was ousted. The ruling military see a transition of power. Protesters, of course, want a civilian government right now. They don't want to wait. CNN's Farai Zavinzo is for us. He joins us now live from Nairobi, Kenya. Good to see you again, Farai. And okay, so now we've got one leader ousted, another one stepping down. Where does that leave the situation, and who's running things in Sudan, Farai?
At the moment, all I can say, Natalie, is that it has been an incredible 2 days in Sudan's history. Let's just take a look back now on how things unfolded for the former leader, Omar al-Bashir, on Thursday, April the 11th.
Sudan, April 11th. For nearly 4 months, they had gathered to protest, demanding let it fall. Junior soldiers joined the protests. Hassan al-Bashir was forced out of power. The news that al-Bashir had gone full departure when many others had not. But they had not expected nor wanted al-Bashir was, until his appearance here, al-Bashir's vice president and minister of defense. Now he was to lead a 2-year military transitional council, which declared a 3-month state of emergency and announced a nighttime curfew for a month. Al-Bashir, new military council said, was under arrest and in a safe place. If anger and disappointment replaced hope and joy across Sudan. The revolution was far-flung. It claimed lives in every town, according to Sudan's Doctors Union. The people were back onto the streets, but Professional Association rejected the new command. And as the sun set and the first night of curfew approached, they carried their bedding to the military headquarters in defiance. The proposed hour of curfew came and went. And the very first day of Sudan without al-Bashir, I woke to music. Sudan's revolution that toppled a 75-year-old is overwhelmingly youthful. It is Sudan's future that felt betrayed by its rulers. Before Friday prayers, the new rulers tried again to reassure the Sudanese of their good intentions.
Mr. Awad Ibn Auf had said that there would be a 3-month curfew. We're in day 3 now. On night 1 it was ignored, and night 2 it was ignored. Military headquarters or not, but it puts the military in a situation where they have to talk. Mr. Bashir left power. 16 people have died. In these protests and counter-protests. And of course there's a whole issue of Rahman is, because we can see throughout these days serenading saxophones. We can see them. In that situation, everyone is talking. The United Nations, the African of the greatest need for dialogue in case this whole thing slips up.
Absolutely, because the people have come so far in making this story. Thank you. Next here, a worldwide phenomenon. You know what we're talking about, Game of Thrones, and the beginning of the end is nearly here.
Want to freshen your home without using heavy, overwhelming scents? Introducing Febreze One. Freshness. Try new Febreze One.
Dun, dun, dun. Add fullness to lips with Juvederm Ultra XC. Common side effects include injection site redness, swelling, pain, tenderness, firmness, lumps, bumps, bruising, discoloration, or itching. As with all fillers, there is a rare risk of unintentional injection into a blood vessel, which can cause vision abnormalities, blindness, stroke, temporary scabs, or scarring. Juvederm it.
You better. Hey, it's me, your dry skin. Moisture. We've got to have each other's backs. CeraVe, now the number.
Nutritional drink has 20 grams of protein, along with 26 essential vitamins and minerals. Boost High Protein. Be up for life.
These streets. And architecture. Antigua Guatemala. History calls. Guatemala. Heart of the Mayan world.
At Credible.com, we've helped you actual rates from multiple lenders. We could save you hundreds of dollars a month.
Visit Credible.com to see how much you could save.
This is my mom's house. A lot of firsts happened here.
First kiss, first cigarette. Never saw it as a problem when I was younger. My mom, she was always like, need to get rid of them. Gave the jewel a real. It was a no-brainer, really. This came from her, really.
Even rock and roll. We believe in blasting it down the fairway, turning up the heat and the fun. Designed home in an active adult community with sushi eaters, artists, thrill seekers, and you. We believe
that never expire. You get free nights fast. Now stay 2 separate times and get a free night. Book now at bestwestern.com.
Sorcerer of scissors, Houdini of hair. Hugo is a small business owner. Me, I'm the Hartford.
Business insurance. The Bucks got your back.
Closed captioning brought to you by 1-800-PET-MEDS. Call or visit petmeds.com to save big today.
Even our pets know to go directly to petmeds.com to save 30% on all the medications we carry.
Eagerly awaited Star Wars Episode 9. The first trailer is out. Far, far away. That would be 1977. The movie will end the Skywalker storyline and feature the voice of Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. Fill the Force when it hits theaters in December.
No one's ever really gone.
All right, speaking of finales, the final season of Game of Thrones returns to HBO on Sunday. For fans, a bittersweet farewell. To the Seven Kingdoms, flame-spouting dragons, and White Walkers.
They're coming.
In the Kingdom of Westeros, winter. HBO's fantasy drama Game of Thrones launches its long-awaited final season Sunday, and fans and actors alike are bracing for the end of an era.
And been a part of.
It's actually quite hard to remember life before Game of Thrones. But from my perspective, it's been nothing but fun.
In the 8 years since its debut, Game of Thrones has shattered records, drawing millions
Virus, and you never know what's going to happen.
HBO invests heavily in the stunning visuals, epic battle scenes, and the show's budget averaged $15 million an episode for its final season. That's parodied in late-night comedy.
I just need to know, do people hate the reality of life and politics? Which TV show?
Probably Game of Thrones.
From politicians...
I'm obsessed with Game of Thrones. Winter is coming.
Zane Asher, CNN. New York.
I promise to fight for the living. I intend to keep that promise.
You've tried moisturizer after moisturizer, but one blows them all out of the water. Hydro Boost is back. Neutrogena.
I used to love going out early in the morning with my watering can and clippers to enjoy my garden.
Visiting Angels, America's choice in home care.
When your hands hurt, you can't function. With Sure Grip technology to give you more power, more control, and more that supports relief and recovery of sore muscles and painful joints. And new Sure Grip bands built in provide a strong, non-slip grip.
They relieve my pain. The support or whatever magic these things do, I don't know what it is.
Or on the web at getcopperfitgloves.com for only $19.99.
I can board, I can use my phone. I love this glove.
Ask for it by name. Copperfit compression gloves.
These paintings call you. And so do their weaving. Handcrafts, art.
I'm Poppy Harlow in New York. So
let's go.
Take us with you. CNN on Sirius XM 116.
Are you thinking of buying a stair lift? This essential free guide will answer all your questions. You can find out how a stair lift can improve your life in a few easy. What type of stair lift will suit my home? What difference can a stair lift make in my life? Answers to these and many more with this free guide to buying a invented to make your life easier. And this free practical guide, produced with the help of Acorn Stair Lifts, will make it easier for you to choose the one that's right for you. $979-5651.
Marianne Williamson, a presidential town hall, tomorrow night at 6 Eastern, only on CNN.
We can give them an unlimited supply.
When we see those nations engage in activities that reduce the outflow of migration from nations, the American people will continue to be incredibly generous.
There are women and children being
because they recognize that some people did something.
She just called it something. It wasn't even something terrible.
Well, it's just obscene for the president to try to take that pain and make it led by women.
Of course. I don't just say that, I believe.
This is New Day Weekend with Victor Blackwell and Christy Pohl.
Good Saturday morning to you. New is giving strong consideration to moving migrants to sanctuary cities.
Yeah, the White House told CNN the idea was informally raised and quickly rejected. The president's Twitter feed saying a video, there's another story, a video of Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, one of the first 2 Muslim women in Congress, intercut with
over the next couple of days. Strong tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds could sweep.
Sanctuary cities. He's confirming that. The acting Secretary of Defense says he expects.
White House reporter Sarah Westwood. Sarah, the president said when he withdrew the nomination for the potential next ICE director that he wants to get tougher. We're potentially seeing some of the plans.
That's right, Victor. President Trump making clear that his system is reaching capacity along the border, and at this point they are having to release some migrants. Today that a plan to release those migrants specifically into sanctuary cities worthy of the presidency. Take a listen to the 2 different views of this dramatic policy.
We'll bring the illegal to sanctuary city areas and let that. Certainly is always saying, oh, we want more people, and they want more people in their sanctuary cities. Well, we'll give them more people. We can give them a lot. We can give them an unlimited supply. And let's see if they're so happy.
I don't know anything about it, but again, it's just another respectful of the challenges that we face as a country, as a people.
Told by President Trump during a visit last week to the border between California and Mexico that President Trump said, perhaps as a joke, the context is unknown, he's stopping more migrants from coming into the U.S. also, as the acting defense secretary said. Clearly, Victor and Christy, the administration gearing up to really crack down on the flow of immigration into the U.S. in the weeks ahead.
All righty. Sarah Westwood, appreciate the heads up.
Playbook and CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson. Gentlemen, welcome back. PR risk and the expense that ICE leadership flagged when this plan initially came up in through the southern border to sanctuary cities. Is that legal?
Of course not, Victor. So, let's back up. That's his right, First Amendment right. He can be provocative. He can be political. He can do something that, serves, as they say, red meat to the people. The benefit and joy of being in America is that we're a country of laws. And as a result of those laws, we have to follow them. And there's a number of ways, as you know, Victor, that laws are created. One, of course, is to executive order, which presidents can do as long as they're not contrary or contravene congressional. From a human perspective is horrific, right? Why we're demonizing immigrants repeatedly is just, you know, it's not only distasteful, it's just horrific. Arbitrary, it cannot be capricious, it cannot be discriminatory. And so when you just start suggesting that you're going to have no rational basis for which to detain because you just want to be provocative and send them to those sanctuary cities, there's no rational relationship to what you're trying to do, and therefore it's unconstitutional and unlawful and will not and cannot stand.
Daniel, let me come to you, and Joey answered the legal question. Let me put to you the political question. What I don't understand is that if the president believes that sanctuary cities complicates ICE's job of finding, detaining, and ultimately deporting people who come into the sanctuary cities to complicate that job.
Yeah, it's a remarkable, you know, brain twist where he's just saying, well, in the sanctuary cities, in the blue states that welcome immigrants, and then they, you know, create a, you know, that cause a major crime.
Well, we know that statistics show and research shows that those people coming into the country, immigrants legally, of sex crimes, of murder, than native-born Americans. Daniel, let me stay with you because we heard from the mayor-elect of Chicago about this plan.
Sanctuary city. We have immigrants from all over the world who call Chicago their home. They'll continue to do that, and we're going to continue to make sure that this is truly a welcoming community.
Really, the outrage that potentially Stephen Miller and the president were hoping for.
No, I think many sanctuary city mayors would be happy to take more immigrants. It's just the fact that agencies like DHS and DOJ and saying, you know, politically and morally, but let's just try to, you know, want to welcome immigrants because they're the ones who are often, you know, coming up with a great business idea. And look at Silicon Valley. You know, thousands of people who come from other countries have started, you know, great companies.
Joey, I'm still trying to decipher if this, or discern if this was just knee-jerk retribution, or if this was a plan that was coming to fruition or coming to some shape. Because if people are relocated
what the president wants, right? Remember that, you know, no matter what, at the end of the day, there are checks and balances, there are independent branches of government, there's a court system to go to, and so I just don't see, you know, that we'll have a situation where you just dump immigrants into sanctuary cities and you say, okay, well, you know we caught you at one location, which is 1,000 miles from it, and you have to come back. So I just don't see that occurring. And to the extent that there's no rationality to it, to the extent that it's illogical, to the extent that there's just no legal justification, I just don't see it ever taking shape.
All right, we'll see if we hear from Republicans on this plan. Joey Jackson, Daniel Lippman, thank you both.
Thank you, Victor.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un says he's open to a third summit with the U.S. now. However, he's saying there are conditions. Speaking before the Supreme People's Assembly in Pyongyang, he said the U.S. must stop, quote, its current way of calculation in order to continue the talks. And he added, if the U.S. does not change their approach, the prospects for problem solving will be, quote, dark and very dangerous. Now, he'll give the U.S. until the end of the year to decide how they want to proceed.
Democrats are coming to the defense of Representative Ilhan Omar after President Trump tweeted a video what some are saying incites hatred towards her.
And a chair in millions of American homes is recalled. This baby
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting Ensure with 9 grams of protein and 26 vitamins and minerals. Ensure for strength and energy.
Happy 24/7.
Aveeno with prebiotic oat hydrates and softens skin. So it's like this, you feel like this. Aveeno Daily Moisturizer. Get skin happy.
As King Midas, I expect a lifetime guarantee. And so should you. On struts, brakes, shocks.
Everything to gold?
Not everything.
Now get $100 back on a 2-axle brake with credit card. Request appointment today.
Longwear weigh you down. New Infallible Fresh Foundation by L'Oreal. Get longwear coverage from most lightweight, breathe formula. Defies sweat and fur. Here's fresh, feels all day, tonight. New Infallible Freshwear by L'Oreal.
It was here. I couldn't catch my breath.
It was the last song. Felt like my heart.
They said I had AFib.
What's AFib?
I knew that meant I was at a greater risk of stroke.
I needed answers
My doctor and I chose Xarelto.
to help keep me protected from a stroke.
Once daily Xarelto, a latest generation blood thinner, significantly lowers the risk of stroke in people with AFib not caused by a heart valve problem. In a clinical study, over 96% of people taking Xarelto remain stroke-free. Don't stop taking Xarelto without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke while taking it. You may bruise more easily or longer for bleeding to stop. Xarelto can cause serious and, in rare cases, problems.
Learn all you can.
To help protect yourself from a stroke.
Ask your doctor.
Postal Service makes more e-commerce delivery than anyone else in the country.
Guys, I want you to meet someone. This is Jamie. You're going to be seeing a lot more of him now.
Look, I get it. Guy comes in, and save with Progressive. We're all in this together. Right, champ? I'm getting more and gets. How about you want to? You're not my dad. Fair. step.
Why didn't you put any vacation on?
At Hilton.com, I get the guarantee, and I can choose from their 14 different hotel brands, so I get the right hotel for every member of my family. Like a DoubleTree for my cousins who love their warm chocolate chip cookies, a Homewood Suites for my uncle who likes a long stay, a Hampton for my sister and her kids.
That's a lot of syrup.
And the Waldorf Astoria Beverly Hills for me. But I
Only
long lived with the discomfort of